second to first.
And it
I
was
think
easier to get a
was.
rental car.
So,
Wow.
yeah,
Good.
excited for him. Nice
Good.
presentation, update on the flags.
Awesome.
Picnic coming up on Saturday.
Are you going?
Yeah,
I'm
he's gonna
going
go.
too, yes.
How do
Yeah.
I stop the back from
Where is it
reclining
at?
so much?
At Veterans Park.
I tried
Perfect.
pulling it out.
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
how
Andrew.
are you?
Oh, wait.
How will we? Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I'm in on it.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Isn't it weird? I'm like, that's not my chair.
Stop it.
This isn't my drawer. Oh,
Should we move this way?
Oh, look at
Yep.
you, how cute.
I see you right behind
Is
you.
this good?
Scoot in, scoot in.
Get in.
oh, more?
Yeah.
All right, sit up straight, stop picking your teeth. Okay.
Hair, fix the hair.
Stay tuned.
Cheese.
Okay, hold on one second.
My hair okay?
It's looking awesome. You mean the hair in your, top of your head, right? Ready? Smile. Thank you.
All right. We did it.
Productivity gestures. Oh, sorry, Andrew. I moved it out of the picture.
That's okay. Stealing my brand new bottle. Undo typing. No, I don't want to undo typing.
Is everyone ready?
Ready?
Everyone ready?
Mayor.
Welcome, everyone, to the City of Oldsmar's City Council Annual Planning Conference. And let's all rise for a pledge allegiance to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everyone. I would like to start out by thanking our city manager, Felicia Donnelly, and our city staff for putting this wonderful presentation together with Lori Hill and Tina Fisher. Thank you guys for joining us today. It means the world to us. I am looking forward to the council's ideas for the future of our city. We have a lot to cover, so let's move forward. And I'd like to introduce. Oh, yes, thank you. Open forum. Is there anyone in here that would like to speak in the open forum? Yes, come on up. Thank you, thank you.
Amber Stevens, 318 Lafayette Boulevard. So I just wanted to thank Councilmember Gannon for coming this past weekend to help make these signs for us. It says slow down, little feet. I wish you guys could have came. We could have done big feet. Could have painted your feet. Because watch out, there's big feet coming. I'm just kidding. So I just wanted to thank you for coming. And also, I just wanted to thank the city for the shuttle service this past weekend for the Opal Theater. I thought that was a really smart idea just to keep it safe. So just wanted to thank everyone for that. So,
Thank you so much. All right, anyone else that would like to speak in the open forum? I'll close the open forum and then I'll turn it over to Tina Fisher. You have the floor. Welcome.
Thank you. All right, and I have it up there. So welcome to the annual planning conference. I'm Tina Fisher with Collaborative Labs at St. Petersburg College, and I'm pleased to be here to help you set your priorities for the next 2 fiscal years. And you said you're welcome, so is there anything else you wanted to add to?
No, I'm actually looking forward to your presentation. I think we have a lot to cover today. There's a lot of things on the agenda, and I think that the whole council here is excited about our planning conference. Welcome.
Yes, thank you so much. So many great ideas came in through the survey, so thank you for taking the time to fill that out. And you'll see all of them listed together, so you're going to see a lot of alignment across your ideas, so that's fantastic. So just real briefly, I'm Tina Fisher. I'm manager of Collaborative Labs. I'm also a facilitator. We wear multiple hats because we're a small but mighty team. And we have Lori Hill, who is our business development and branding director, also acting as my technologist today. Our other team members are actually in Nassau School District in Jacksonville today and going down to Brevard County tomorrow for community health needs assessment. So they're traveling, and we get to be here in Oldsmar. So this is an abbreviated planning session where you have contributed your priorities, your strategic priorities. It is not the full-fledged strategic planning development that we can do, so I wanted to let you know we usually have a full team that has a facilitator, technologist. We also have a documenter that creates a real-time record, which is a full set of meeting notes so nobody has to take notes, which is amazing. And we also have a support specialist and a visual illustrator. So you'll see a couple of the examples of the visual illustration. So if you go forward, and I believe you're doing a new strategic plan maybe in 2025, I'm not sure, coming up. If you choose to use this, you'll get that full package. So our agenda today is we're going to celebrate some strengths and successes. At Collaborative Labs, we are appreciative inquiry based, which means we focus on the strengths instead of the weaknesses so that we can leverage those to move forward, because we all have strengths as leaders and you have strengths in Oldsmar. Your city is booming, which is why you start with a place from strength instead of what's missing or what's wrong. Then we have a really fun activity where we're going to leverage our collective leadership strengths. It's a great activity for you to get to know each other, your leadership styles, what you bring to the planning process. So we're going to do a small deep dive into that so you can share some ideas, your strengths, and what you appreciate about each other's styles. Then we'll turn it over to the staff to do a presentation of the current priorities so you know where the status is on priorities that were already set for this fiscal year. And then we will jump into prioritizing the ideas that you have that you want to carry forward from this current fiscal year into the next 2 fiscal years. How does that agenda sound to you?
Good.
Good? All right. So let's celebrate our current successes and strengths. So what are you most excited about as we envision success? So I just pulled together the slide that has your strengths and successes that you contributed. So if you don't mind, I'll just ask each of you to read yours and maybe elaborate on it. So we'll start with Councilmember Knapp. And you're like, can I see that? Do you have it in front of you?
Oh, well, yeah, I don't,
We don't.
we don't have it in front of me. We're up there. Okay. Okay, so critical infrastructure is more or less, obviously, we know with Harbor Palms that can has, collectively been kicked down the road years over years. And we know that there's other things upcoming, and with the resiliency and sustainability study that we've had going on, really looking into that further and always being on top of it, because infrastructure is constantly being used, it deteriorates, so preventive maintenance, I think, is really important to have a strong core plan for that and keep moving forward with it, because otherwise, things are gonna cost way more down the road to fix it when it could be just a quick Band-Aid on it now that's permanent in fixture.
Yeah, maintenance of the infrastructure is really important. I'm going to switch to the mic because I'm a walker, so I like to walk around. The next one also contributed. Are you able to see that? Beginning work on the BMX track. The international renowned BMX track, I may add.
So yeah, that being our success is kind of getting over that hump of really getting that work done, and we can all see it rise now, and I think not too long in the future we'll be going down the ramp. So I think that was an important thing. A lot of citizens didn't quite understand maybe all the logistics behind it of why we really did commit to that. So I think maybe even some broader messaging of why that happened may be beneficial to kind of cementing that as a success.
Yes. And which of you are going to ride your bike on the BMX track? Are you guys going to all do some leaps?
We're going to try.
Not
All
my
right.
bike.
Let me know when that is, because I'm going to come watch. All right, and we have Councilmember Gannon. Are you able to see that?
Yeah, I sure can. I kind of, I'm not surprised that I echo Councilmember Knapp addressing the many long overdue infrastructure projects that have needed attention. And they aren't the fancy kind of projects, but they are the expensive kind of projects. Harbor Palms was already mentioned, our WRF plant, the wastewater treatment plant. Everything from sidewalks and resurfacing roads to underground piping, all that kind of stuff has to constantly be, paid attention to. Otherwise, the cost does continue to grow. And with the many projects we still have kind of in the pipeline, we're already seeing that the cost is rising before we can even get to doing it. So it's important that we always stay on top of those. I may have misunderstood the survey. I didn't know we could put in more than one, and Andrew has two. Yeah, I thought that line was just for one.
Well, you can add more.
Well, I would, I would add maybe some of our successes over the past year or year and a half have been continuing to execute the economic development plan and building the downtown corridor. We are working right now on a project next to the library, and there's been a lot of movement, I would say, in that area in the past year and a half or so, which is exciting because we haven't had that. So I think those are two things that we've been very successful at.
If you think of anything else, you let us know.
Okay.
You can add to this.
Thank you.
Guess what? We have another BMX track. Councilmember Graber.
Yes, and I was not on council when we went through the approval process to get that moving, and then was since elected, but just the fact that we had to get through COVID and a lot of the backlog, but to see it actually being rebuilt in a way that is sustainable. But yeah, getting on the bikes, and Mayor Saraki recommended that we get all the way up the top of the hill. So
No.
that was his idea. It was his idea, so I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you all go off the hill at the same time?
I don't know how it's gonna work. But yeah, we're gonna try.
Not the big hill, the little hill.
Extra padding.
Fun. All right, how about the Oyster Gardens?
The Oyster Gardens for sure. So when we did some studies, and I believe the name of the group we worked with was Tampa Bay Watch, but we were able to put the Oyster Gardens out on the pier. There was a lot of folks from Safety Harbor that also owned their own piers, and from Oldsmar that came out and did it as well. But what we learned was that the Oyster Gardens filter a great deal of water just by being there, and so being able to foster their growth and clean up Oldsmar Bay, right? But Safety Harbor was something that, of course, is critical for us, and we didn't realize that it needed as much cleaning as it does. So this was a way we were able to bring not only the adults who own the houses, but I know my daughter was there, Katie's kids were there with us as well. Andrew brought his little girl. And so it was a fun activity for all of us. And so you can still see them when you're walking on the pier. But I thought that, and just getting as fast as it came together, and especially working in concert with Safety Harbor was a very good success in the last year.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that.
3.
Look at this. He's on a roll. Proceeding, Councilmember
That's good.
Graber with the library site.
Yeah. As Councilmember Gannon mentioned, several discussions over the last several years about starting to get construction down here, being able to get the essential terms brought in front of us from Felicia and her staff, and with John Buse and his presentation, being able to push that forward, a very good success that we've seen recently.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And more family-friendly events.
And this was really motivated, I know when Al was a city manager, of course continuing with Felicia, but working with Leisure Services and CHIPS Group, moving away from necessarily the bigger events, and being able to focus more on getting the families down to Ariels Park, getting the families over to the rec center, but making it, with whether it's movie in the park, or even, with our citizens like Amber putting together, making all the signs and just getting them more family friendly, bringing everybody together that way. was another one of our.
Did I see family game night on the sign coming in? We play a lot of games in our family.
Yeah, and just being able to do those smaller events throughout the year, but encouraging the families to come out. I think everyone's really enjoyed it, for sure.
Yeah, wonderful.
Did I have 10 more? Go, here we
Wow,
go.
okay, okay.
You're on a roll.
Self-read instructions.
Douglas Road Improvement.
Was I always supposed to put one?
I didn't know.
I just started typing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Open prompt.
It expands.
That's all right.
I just wanted to steal all the rest of your answers. But yeah, Douglas, Douglas Road improvements, those were a long time coming. I know Councilmember Knapp travels Douglas Road a lot. and
Every
so
day.
Every single day on his way to work. And one of my neighbors works there, and with all the heavy-duty transportation that goes on, it was very much needed. And not only did we have the improvements begin, but we were able to speed a couple of them up, I believe, right? And so seeing that start, again, it was something as we were, a lot of us were coming onto council that we had been hearing about, seeing it happen while we're up here, that very good success.
What kind of improvements were they?
That's a whole totality of, just a complete
Undergrounding
restructure of it. yeah.
utilities, the
Culverting
redoing the
the
roads,
ditch.
culverting
Yeah.
ditches,
Yeah.
sidewalks, drainage, the whole soup to nuts,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
The whole right of way.
No, here we go again.
And we heard a little bit about this already, the Harbor Palms improvements. You already see some alignment with your successes. And then Mayor Saraki.
Oh, thank you. Well, there's a couple things. The hockey rink is one of my favorite because I actually play there 2 nights a week. I'm just glad that they finally were able to relieve the flooding issue, and now it doesn't flood anymore. So that, to me, that is complete now. That hockey rink is complete, and I'm really excited about that. And there's a couple other things. Steve brought up, Councilmember Gray brought up the Oyster Gardens. July, I think we have to go check, right? Is it July? See, Eric mentioned 7 months after. I really would like to follow that through,
Yep.
you know, and see what happens with that. I think that's a environment project that I think is great for our city and our sister city, Safety Harbor. And then the other thing I wanted to mention was, because I only put 1 too, Katie.
Yeah, I just,
I didn't know.
I thought it was like the most.
The most success.
It says, what are you most proud of? So I was like, most.
Yeah.
That means
So
one.
the other thing is that we all talked about the Harbor Palms improvement. That is a crucial infrastructure project for our city. I can see the neighbors all love it, that once their street gets done. It's in phase 2 right now where it's kind of chaos and people are complaining, but we're gonna get over it and get through this. And I keep focusing on the future, that it's a positive project for our city. And it's gonna be probably the first step of other developments in our city that are gonna have to be done in the future, and we'll have to plan for them. And there's a couple other ones that are starting to be in the same position as that one. So, and then as far as everything else, I think that's good. I think the council's in line with a lot of the future of our city. I think we're all lined up of where we're heading and where we're going.
Yep.
Hear from Jared too, though.
And then I know, he's like, I'm new, I don't know what happened in the last strategic plan. So I'd like to give you an opportunity to share.
Yeah, you know, I'll echo all these items. You know, I've seen these over the years prior to my time on council here, seeing all these come to fruition. It was just not being here only for the past month, but not being involved as I was prior, trying to think of all these projects and which one was the most. I really just kind of left it broad, said, hey, I'm the new guy, but I'm proud of what we've been and where we're going.
I'll be interested to see what your leadership style is when we get to that activity. Any other successes or strengths you want to add about the city of Oldsmar? There's so many.
There's so many, you know, you could kind of get down into the nitty gritty of each of those types of topics. You know, if you want to talk sustainability or infrastructure or programming or leisure services or like specifics, but like high level, I think that's a good overview of some of the most expensive and most time consuming, most intense kind of successes. Of
Yeah,
this past
and there's a
year and half.
reason why you live, work, and play here. Yeah. All right, thank you for sharing that. So we're going to jump into an activity that is one of my favorites. It's called the Compass at Points activity. So as you know, we have 4 directions, north, south, east, and west. And it's also on the agenda in front of you. So you can take a look. So we're going to identify our leadership styles, and I'll ask you to pick two that you kind of lean toward when you show up for work. It might be different of how you show up at home, but how you show up to work. So Northerners are the ones who just plunge right in. They like to act, get things done. They just want to go for it. Then you have the Southerners, who are caring folks who like to make sure everybody's voices are heard before acting. Then you have our Easterners. There are visionaries, like speculating. They want to kind of think about it and see the big picture before they make the leap into acting. And then you have the Westerners. These are detail-oriented people who want the facts before they take action. So just take a minute, maybe circle two of those on your agenda, of which ones you lean towards. It's hard. I was talking to my friend of mine, and I think as a leader, sometimes you can show up in multiple different ways depending on what the scenario is. So if you're split, just go with the two that you think most resonates with you, because you'll get to talk about the other styles as well. So our 4 questions that we're going to ask is, what are your 2 compass directions? What are the strengths of your styles? What do you value about the other styles? And what do team members from the other styles need to know about you so we can work effectively? So this is where I want you to grab your iPad or your phone, and that's when you're going to use that link that you were sent through the email to log into our brainstorming software called XSleep. Please enter your full name, like Councilmember Knapp. And when you log in, you're going to see the 4 compass directions. All right, how's it going? Are you logged in?
Logged in, but I don't see the compass.
Join session.
Oh, Eric's, or
Oh, okay.
It's up.
Oh, the north is on the left. Okay, there we go. Nope.
Do we just hit enter?
Yep, just hit enter, and I'll show you how to do that.
Okay.
I'm still seeing this, so apologize. Don't know why. Should I log out maybe, try logging back in? Okay.
Is everybody in?
Yes.
So go ahead and hit enter and enter a comment. Enter a comment for each of the 2 compass directions that you've picked.
I got in. I'm in, thank you.
You want us to comment about the strengths? Is that what you want us to jump to?
So the
Okay,
strength of your style.
gotcha.
So you'll click enter, and then you'll click the plus sign. Yep, I see Vice Mayor Buckman has entered an idea. So I'll give you a little bit. I feel like I should play some Jeopardy music. Technologist? So you just click the plus sign, enter your comment, and click post, and then you can X out of that style and go to another style until you've commented on 2 compass directions that you align with. See, a couple of you have chosen east, and a couple have chosen north, 1 west.
Wish I could dictate.
What was
Yeah,
that?
just sit off in the corner and
Yeah.
talk to type.
What was that? Councilmember Gannon?
Dictate it.
I know. I know, I got the keyboard with my iPad. Really? A Southerner. We have a Southerner in the group. That's a sweet treat. Sweet tea drinkers. I will disclose that we did this activity for another city in Pinellas County, and there were no Southerners. I won't tell you which one it was, though. Nina, did everybody get a chance to put in for two?
I'm almost done.
Everybody got two? Okay. Done.
Then we'll be ready.
This is great. I like this.
It's really enlightening to see how to work with each other,
It really is.
because we all have strengths that we bring to the table, especially in something that's important as planning for your strategic priorities. So it's going to be good to know who likes to sit back and kind of noodle on things, who likes to just jump in and get things done, where you have to kind of say, hold on, we got to look at this first. So it's really good to know the perspectives. It's already up. All right, I'm going to go ahead and start on the Northerners. All right, so let's go ahead and share. So if you want to click on North, you can see the first one is Vice Mayor Buckman. If you want to share your idea, your strength of this style.
Yeah, thank you. It's, letting things fester and just sit around and do nothing. I like to make the action, think about the action, get it done, get out of the way, and move on to my next agenda item. It's not something that I want to sit there and try to overanalyze forever and ever and have no action on.
So you don't have analysis paralysis. You see the problem, you solve it, and you...
I try to, yes.
Yes. That's what I try to aspire to.
But the paralysis does hit me from time to time.
Yes. Mayor, you're next.
Thank you. So when I first became a council member, this item was like my highest priority. I wanted to get things done really fast within the city. But as I learned over time, things take time when you're dealing with a municipality and the government issues. So this is still important to me. I do feel it's very important that when all of us come up with new ideas, that we act fast and just try to work together as a team to solve them and get those ideas working. But again, this is probably my favorite, but it takes time.
Yeah, I agree. Sometimes it takes longer than we want it to, especially with government.
Exactly.
It's just kind of slow moving sometimes. All right, and then Councilmember Knapp.
So whenever something new comes up, I come up with some sort of idea or something, whether it's here as service on council or at work, I tend to dive right in. And before I know it, 6 hours have gone by and it's like you black out and then suddenly you know way more about what you were investigating and coming up with those ideas and then saying, all right, well, now I've got a plan, let's go do it. And then a lot of times you hit the roadblock, whether it's here or even at work, it's too costly or can't be done right away. There's change management involved. So yeah, I definitely can sometimes just get sucked into something and then, yeah, it's 3 a.m.
I know, but that's fun though, isn't it? It's fun.
Right.
I know sometimes my husband's a Northerner, so sometimes I have to say, I just want you to listen. I don't want you to solve it. I just want you to listen.
Yeah, I mean, I'll find myself at work, like doing work stuff late at night or on the weekend, and then it's like, my wife's like, stop, and I'm like, but I'm enjoying it, you know, it's take work home, but if you're having fun, then it's not work.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? All right, let's go to Easterners. So it looks like we have 2 entries. Vice Mayor Buckman.
So there's acting, right? But there's also the part of brainstorming it and figuring out, is this the right path? Is the right way we want to go? But it also can bring fresh ideas, fresh perspective, instead of an isolated look at one problem. Bringing other ideas to the table is part of that.
Yeah, definitely. So especially on city council and you have your constituents and you have the community, when you go to do your next strategic plan, it's going to be so important to have community focus groups or surveys, opportunities to get all those fresh ideas coming in. We always say at Collaborative Labs, go deep and wide, as many stakeholders as possible, so you can get some fresh new ideas. All right, Councilmember Graber.
Yeah, just in terms of knowing the ultimate goal, if you just, for me, diving right in without knowing what the end game is has just never really worked. I tend, if that's the case, my decisions have been hurried. So what I've tried to do is always take a step back, no matter, as Councilmember Knapp alluded to, whether it's here or what's with my day job. What is it that we're trying to get to? And so you can develop the proper strategies in order to get there. So more of a, take the 30,000-foot view and then bring it down and then divide them up into steps in order to get back up there.
So you're a visionary, so you like to see what the end vision is and then back up and work your way there.
Correct.
Okay, very interesting. I love that. I'm that way too.
Oh, cool.
All right, let's see our Westerners. These are our detail-oriented folks. All right, back to you, Councilmember Graber.
Yeah, I need to read everything before making a decision. I don't really need, do we need to expand upon that? But when I first started on council, when I'd have my meetings with Al and Felicia, they'd be like, you know, we didn't expect you to read every single piece of fine print. And I was like, well, you gave it to me, so I had to read it. But I share similar traits with some other folks up here. I don't have to look at the other 2 names on here. I'm probably trying to guess, you know, but if, sometimes you just need to read it, right, Felicia?
Mm-hmm. She's nodding her head in agreement. Now, when you're downloading software and it shows you the license and you have to accept or decline, do you read all the fine print?
When we bought our first house, I was told that I was the first person ever to read their mortgage while we were sitting there in the closing office, yes. I'm signing it, so putting your name on it, you better know what it says, right?
True. You would be the kind of person I'd want in my corner so I can say, I don't want to read the fine print. Would you be interested?
I'd be elated, yes.
Elated, yes.
For sure.
All right. Councilmember Knapp.
Similar, and I can draw a similar parallel to closing on a house. I spent about 4 hours doing a walkthrough to create a punch list, and a guy that was working for about 30 years in the industry said that was by far the longest walkthrough he ever conducted. And he was, we had very good rapport, so he was willing to put up with it, but probably for most other people not, because I wasn't trying to be overly, you know, too nitpicky, but at the same time, it was probably above and beyond. But it's like, it's a brand new house, you want it to be done right, so that's.
Yes, and you
that's
always know
definitely my
there's
personality.
something with a house. There's
Right.
always something. They have their own personalities.
So yeah, that like looking at things and learning when to not really elevate it enough to where it's an issue, and that it probably is not negative to the overall outcome.
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you. And then Councilmember Gannon.
Yes, thank you. So I put facts, data, professional advice from consultants, and information-based choices are important to me before I decide, so nothing's overlooked. So big shocker, both Steve and I, Councilmember Graber and I are both attorneys. Right. So, you know, a lot of things that we do up here have to do with intense, you know, reading, whether it's legal documents, resolutions, statutes, application of statutes or laws, or our code, or, you know, someone else's code. For me, when making a decision, I do like to take a step back and understand that I'm not an expert, but in this room, we have incredible expertise. And we also, you know, often employ outside expertise to help us in our decision making. And that old adage that was said to me when I first started on council too, you know, read the stuff, so, and it really matters to me because often the answer is in the information that we're provided, or it can be found. And I naturally love to read. That's part of what I do, outside in my other job. So to me, the information-based, data-driven decisions are important. There's a lot of security for me in understanding all of the pieces and components that go into a decision.
Yeah, then you have the confidence that you're making the right decision because
Right.
you've read the details.
Right.
So it's good. You have a couple very detail-oriented people on the council. That's always a plus. That's good.
Love it.
Not everybody can be that detail-oriented. All right, and we're going to our Southerners. All right, Mayor Zaraki.
Thank you. So when I was younger, this was one of my weaknesses. I wasn't a very good listener. I was more of a doer, like Item the North. And when I became on council, I thought it was very important that I would start to be more of a listener. And during my tenure as council member, working with the different leaders of our city, council members, mayors, I became a listener and I learned more about where we're headed as a city and learned more from the city managers. So I became more of a listener in the last 8 years being up here. And I feel it's really important that everyone up here as a team, I listen to them and I understand their core values of where we're headed and what their ideas are. So this is kind of a really unique one for me because I believe that listening to anybody, if it's a constituent, if it's a family member, it's a city staff, listening is the most important thing up here. And I think that listening is going to help us obtain our goals for this council, and we're going to move forward with our city.
Very well said. Very well said. Always so good to be good listeners. It's sometimes a lost art, I think. All right, and then Councilmember Gannon.
Thank you. Yeah, I added gaining feedback from residents and stakeholders is important to understand the potential outcomes of each decision. It's funny you mentioned the county one that you did. I participated in Leadership Pinellas class of 2021, best class ever. And we did a leadership, characteristic kind of study, and I was the only one out of my whole class that had this one characteristic. It was actually called WOO, like W-O-O.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I did the Strengths Finders matrix.
Yeah, the Strength Finder, the Clifton Strength Finder. And it was really interesting because, of course, then we had to talk to each other about that characteristic. And I learned that for me, it's listening, but it's also that compassionate listening and having the ability to kind of step outside of what is on, my agenda and my thinking and try to think from the perspective of another and to act from that compassionate place. Gabby McGee, former council member, former vice mayor, she had this incredible tattoo on her arm and it said, "Begin from within." And my first seat was right here and her first seat was right here. And it was on the inside of her arm right here, so I could always see it when I looked over at the rest of the council. And that really resonated with me because I think, coming from that internal heart, centered thinking is something that's unique to me.
Yeah.
So.
I love that. So who's going to get the tattoo? So I think Mayor Zaraki needs to get it.
No tattoos.
So as
I'm
his
in that
right
seat
hand
now,
slash
so I
left
guess
hand vice mayor.
Yes.
Well, wonderful. Thank you for sharing your strengths. So now what I want to do is just ask those of you who are listed as Northerners, what do you value about the other styles? So Vice Mayor Buckman, Mayor, Councilmember Knapp, what do you value about the other styles that you may not have selected?
The pay attention to details is something I value that in my sales support team that I work with on my other job day to day. That's not where my strengths are. I know that's not where my strengths are, and I choose not to be in that area. But it's a lot of work, and I understand that. And prior to coming up here, I knew that the attention people were on the ends here to attorneys. So I kind of predicted that there. From the South, the caring, I think it's always, we have 2 ears, one mouth, listen before you talk. I always think that caring is the most important message you can send out there.
Yeah. Thank you. Well said. Mayor or Councilmember Knapp?
Oh,
Go ahead.
you go first.
Okay. I can definitely relate to the other two. They're just not the stronger two of my strengths. Through my work, I spend a fair amount of time having to look at the big picture and try to look into the crystal ball, although it's always difficult to do so. And we're constantly trying to play catch up, keeping up with growth in industry. So I do have to do that, but at the same time, you have to also want to get stuff done now. You want to get caught up instead of always playing catch up. So that's how I can understand that and do see the value in it. And as for caring, I'm growing that as becoming a manager with work to know, taking into everybody's account, trying to build that team camaraderie is not something that necessarily comes naturally to me. And it's something that you have to learn, and you almost have to fake it till you make it. And at the same time, we're learning through predictive index things where you can kind of pivot and take on something that's not your strength. It takes a lot of energy, and then you kind of need to unwind from it. So there's always almost kind of being a chameleon is a challenge to take hold on.
Yeah, especially, and I know when they say like Myers-Briggs, introvert versus extrovert, it's not what you think. It's not
Spectrum,
yeah, it's not like being outgoing or ingoing. It's what energizes you. So you could be a council member, for example, and be an introvert. You're here to serve the city, but yet going out to events every night may drain you and you have to go back and refresh, but you still love what you do. Sure. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
All right, speculating East strengths. That is, looking at the big picture, I do look at that, but I think that the team up that we have here, I think that we collaborate and work together to look at the big picture together. That's something I should maybe work on a little bit. The pay attention to detail, that's why we have Councilmember Graber. I try to read everything, but sometimes it's overwhelming for me. And it really is. There's a lot to read, and I constantly am reading. I go to bed now and I read every night, but it's just there's so much. So it's kind of a weakness of mine, but I'm improving on it, and I work at it every day because I think this attention to detail is very important, not only for myself but us as a team.
You know, it's really valuable that you mention that because that's letting everybody know who's going to email you something very important that they should put the first 2-3 bullet points up front and then give you the background information. I used to teach this email organization class where it was formed after the old memo, the memorandum that you had to sign off and pass to the next person's desk, to let you know to put the subject at the very top, what, be very clear, action required or for your information and what it was, and then put the top 3 bullet points and then put the background information. A lot of times people kind of tell you the whole story and about their vacation, and they get to the end, and then you're like, what was my action? And you get kind of lost in it. So that's good to know, a good communication style tip. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, so let's go to the next. So our Easterners will see what you appreciate about the other styles. And I believe you already said some, but did you have anything else you wanted to add, Vice Mayor Buckman?
Good, thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Graber, what do you value about the other styles that you didn't pick?
Well, with in terms of the North, I think with me, it's more of, if I understand the whole picture and the attention to detail, then the decisions that you make, which might be cyclical, you're more efficient in making those. And so you can act quickly, but it doesn't necessarily mean, for me, it's a new idea, act quickly. Because like I said, then you might make a rushed decision, which might not be conducive to what the end goal is. And so folks who want to dive right in, as Councilmember Knapp alluded to, yeah, I might dive right in, but I'm not gonna make a decision in 20 minutes. He might wait until, he's told to go to bed at 3 in the morning. And so it's not just an hour long. So I do appreciate that, but just diving in and making those decisions, it's not my sense of doing things. It's gather the skills that are necessary in order to make quick, efficient decisions once you understand the entire thing. In terms of South, that was more related to East, and so it was kind of difficult one way or the other, because you're not going to understand the big picture until you bring everybody else in. And so my favorite type of manager to work for is somebody who doesn't say, this is how I manage, and then you can deal with it. It's, I need to understand all of your personalities first so I can adapt to how I'm going to get the best out of you. And so listening to your employees, listening to our constituents, to each other, to Felicia and her staff, to try to make those best decisions, I thought the two were actually pretty correlated. So it all boils down to what's the most efficient way to make the right decision. And so, of course, listening to people is something that I try to do all of the time. If we were picking the two, as you probably found out, to pay attention to detail, they like to tease me about it. But yeah, understanding the big goal, that's why I picked the two that I did.
Wonderful. Thank you for sharing. All right. And then our detail-oriented folks who may not be Northerners or Easterners. And you can go in whatever order if you have anything else to share about the other styles.
Oh, nothing from me. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else want to share anything else about the other styles?
No, I mean.
I think
already
you
touched
guys
on-
shared everything. Wonderful. Was this helpful to learn about each other's styles?
Amazing.
Wonderful.
Excellent.
Is there anything else that you want the other council members to know about you to work more effectively with you?
I had a thought.
Yeah.
Oh, we moved on. I didn't get a chance to talk about the other styles.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. 'Cause I
Please
was-
talk about the other styles.
We skipped over you.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I just wanted to mention that I'm South. I don't necessarily know if they're opposites, but to some extent it was difficult, as Councilmember Graber mentioned. It was tough to choose between Southeast or Southwest for me, because I'm a little bit both. I went, like you said, with my gut, which was the West details and South caring. But I can certainly appreciate the North for, acting, let's do it, that kind of mentality. Sometimes when I'm working through something and collecting all the information that I need in order to make a decision, it's not total analysis paralysis, but sometimes, I try to remember that done is better than perfect. And I try to remember that other people sometimes want to move with a little bit more expediency than I'm, comfortable with. I like to, sometimes step away from what we're doing, take some time to go think on my own and then kind of come back to the table, even if it's hours later or maybe a week later, in order to make decisions. And it's interesting because that's kind of how government operates, right? We have a tentative agenda, we have the agenda, and so you kind of have that rolling kind of, what's coming up, so that you can feel like, well, for me, so that I can feel like I have enough time to do that research
Right.
and be prepared for things. And then, like I said, it was hard for me not to choose the East strengths, the big picture, because for me, the facts on the West and the caring and sort of input from everybody on the South, that is the East, that is the big picture that was mentioned. And so I appreciate everybody's ability to provide something to bring us to the middle, which is that big picture before we all make a decision. So,
Right.
yeah.
Thank you for that. Anything else for you, Councilmember Knapp, that you want the other council members to know about you, working with you?
Councilmember Gannon just was talking about decisions, and I feel like I wanted to highlight kind of just the means in which are processed and how I go through things and analyze it and ultimately make a decision. And it pretty much comes down to what's logical, rational, and a lot of times pragmatic in terms of what makes sense and why I may make a decision, whether it's here, at home, at work. a lot of times, it comes in through the ears or through the eyes. It filters through your brain first. A lot of times your heart then tends to come into play, but ultimately this is still what's making the decision, even though the heart can weigh heavily on it at times. So I feel like it's definitely a thinking game for me.
Okay, good to know. And you have a 2-year-old at home?
I have a 2-year-old.
There's no rationality, by the way.
Oh, I'm learning that. Yeah.
Okay.
Patience is the
And
other
another one
part.
on the way.
Yeah, another one on the way.
Wow. I have triplets, 20-year-old triplets. So there was no rationality.
Yeah, you
Congratulations.
can try to talk to them, and they just don't.
Congratulations. Mayor, what else do you want the council members to know about your style to work effectively with you?
There's a couple things I want to mention to the council, especially Councilmember Graber, Councilmember Knapp, and Councilmember Gannon, excuse me, Councilmember Gannon, Councilmember Knapp, Councilmember Graber, Vice Mayor. The future of the city is really in their hands. They're a different decade of me. So they are the future of our city. And I want them to all know that I respect your words, your ideas, and what you want to do for the future of this city. I really respect you guys. I don't have any kids. My kids are all gone, but I just feel that, I have grandkids, and you guys, you're having family. You have a family. You guys all have families. I've been there. And when you talk about your jobs and you talk about what you're doing, trust me, I've been in all those situations. I've been in every single one of them. So I just wanted you to know that I respect your decisions. I respect where we're headed as a future of our city. And I just want us all to work together for the better good of our city of Baltimore. That's all I wanted to share.
Sounds like you're sharing some trust
Yes, I
in their
am.
opinions.
Trust.
I love that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Trust.
A lot of great strengths on your council. This is
No,
fantastic.
I love it.
Vice Mayor?
So as I'm learning up here, and I've had a couple of these conversations, my first couple meetings, it was like going through the motion, second the motion, discussion, vote, and it was so quick that I haven't had time to think about not only what I've read and my thoughts about what I've been doing, but also listening and taking into consideration the other council members' input on that issue. So it was really interesting because I kind of analyze it a little bit and go, okay, are we doing this? And before I know it, we're voting, and I'm like, what just happened? Right? So I got to change my style just a little bit to get a little bit more in tune there. But as far as for me, working in a sales environment, it's always about treating the customer right. And in this instance, it's always the question that's always going to be in my head: is this good for our citizens? That's always going to be the first question in my head. Is this the right direction for
Love
our
it.
citizens? And sometimes it may not be, but it may be the best direction for the city. And that's when that brain and heart discussion have to come into play. I'm excited about what we're doing up here. I'm excited to the future of the city. And I'm looking forward to working with all of you guys.
Wonderful. So just keep in mind, he's a noodler. So before you vote, maybe give the top 3 takeaways. Thank you for sharing. Councilmember Graber.
I think it's been pretty well expressed. I think we all know each other fairly well. We all knew Jared prior to, Vice Mayor Buckman, prior to him being elected. But for me, I always paraphrase this Mark Twain quote, but it's, I sat down to write you a short note, but I didn't have time, so I wrote you a long one. And so it's basically an old professor's adage of, if your paper's more than 5 pages long, then you don't know enough about the topic. You have to research everything and be able to truncate it and find specifically what it is that you're answering. And so I tend to tell folks in my day job, I'm much better on the phone, because if I send you an email, it's probably just going to be a sentence, and I'm just going to answer your question, but it's not going to be exclamation points and emojis and that sort of stuff. Like, no, I'm just answering your question and moving on. I don't think you guys needed to learn that about me, but just passing along, I think we're all very comfortable with each other's styles. I like the exercise for sure, but I didn't know Jared was just like whiplash. When he was up here. You've hit it well. But just that's my philosophy towards anything tends to be that way. I need to understand all of it, and then my decisions can be very quick and, like I said, efficient.
Great. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for the observations that you've made of each other. And I think your team is going to work really well together. So thank you for indulging me in this fun collective strengths activity. So wonderful strengths on the council. Good balance. Wouldn't you say? Good balance.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to, I believe, City Manager Donnelly for the staff presentation and on existing priorities. So let me go ahead and bring up your presentation here. Do you want this or what?
Perfect. Good afternoon, council. I'm going to invite staff up to give the priority update on the respective priorities. But it's important to know these are the priorities that you all selected last year. So we're still halfway in the fiscal year, right? So we just hit that mark. So these are the really an update for fiscal year 21-22, which we're in the middle of. So the first slide is for Tatiana Childress, the Planning and Redevelopment Director.
Hello, Tatiana Childress, Planning and Development Director.
Hi, Tatiana.
So the first priority is to build a downtown corridor, and we'll briefly go over some of the strategies. So we've reviewed the development proposals for both the library and Oldsmar Town Center sites, negotiated with potential developers for each site, Council to consider approval of each development agreement, concurrent with the purchase and sale agreement and other legal documents. Coordinate design and construction efforts with each private developer and continue our CRA activities. The completed actions include the review of development proposals in 2019 and 2020. We approved the Woodfield development and Devon Rushnell plans and directed negotiations in 2021. We initiated a text amendment to the Land Development Code and the comprehensive plan to provide for density incentive in the Town Center Commercial Residential Zoning District. We held 3 open public house meetings regarding the library site. The council also approved the development agreement terms for the library site. We also been awarded a Complete Streets grant for the St. Petersburg Drive project in 2019, and plans are almost completed for this project. We've completed the downtown water main replacement project, which was $2.2 million in 2020, and we created a parklet on State Street in 2021 to promote walkability. We installed commissioned public art sculpture, Taking Flight, and we distributed paint up, fix up grants and business incentive grants in the CRA. We enforced our architectural standards for new construction within the CRA, and we facilitated many downtown events. Future actions include the agenda items to discuss suspending Woodfield development negotiations and consider requests for development proposals for the City Hall site. Consideration of the development agreement for the library site at the planning board and 2 council public hearings, and continue the distribution of CRA grants, enforcement of architectural standards, and facilitation of special events. The next priority is to execute economic development plan strategies as feasible. These strategies include to continue work with Upper Tampa Bay Chamber of Commerce to implement plan strategies as feasible and to execute plan strategies. Completed actions include conducted monthly, business visits. We held a job fair hosting 40 local businesses with 100 potential applicants. Been instrumental in being awarded a grant of $300,000 to the Tampa Bay Partnership to develop a manufacturing talent pipeline for the region. And by working with Pinellas County through the Employment Sites Program, we assisted a local company in securing over $900,000 for a new project in our industrial community. We also conducted over 44 lunch and learn, providing important business education. We work closely with Pinellas County Economic Development in the areas of business attraction and retention, We began collaboration with Pinellas Technical College to connect the city's manufacturing community to needed education, and convened an Invest Oldsmar group to discuss upcoming business investments. Future steps include to continue the activities and collaboration associated with the current business assistance program. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana.
Ann Nixon, City Clerk. I'll be covering continued efforts to become a more automated and connected city. Strategies include departments review how to increase connection with the community for services they provide, review all new projects for opportunities to piggyback connected city initiatives, research how other cities are increasing connectivity. Recent completed actions include online surveys about photo contests, public art, leisure services programming, the implementation of Radio 1 and City Hall antenna, which is used for emergencies, deploy the public GIS maps for zoning and land use, solid waste lookups, and climate resiliency maps, and upgrades to city network, including next generation firewalls, VPN, and malware detection. Our future actions include further explore available citizen outreach applications, continue to work with Public Works on preventative maintenance and work order system for fleet maintenance, expand global work order system and notifications, and upgrade network system to provide real-time monitoring of switches to detect intrusion and issues more quickly.
Good afternoon, Chip Potts, Director of Leisure Services. This strategy was to execute the Oldsmar Sports Complex improvements. That included to identify and implement facility improvements that enhance the recreational experience for users. Some of the completed actions that have taken place was in 2020, we were awarded a $200,000 grant from the Florida Recreation Development Assistance Program to help renovate the baseball and softball facility. In 2022, city staff replaced the infield of baseball field number 1. In 2022, we've awarded a contract, the city has, to World Turf for the renovation of the baseball field, which will take place starting in June of this year. We've continued to work with the BMX track contractor for the hill renovation, and city staff renovated the clay track surface on all of the straights up to this point, so we're ready to go when the hill is ready to go. Some of the future actions are to complete the design enhancements for the renovations to the baseball facility, complete the reconstruction of the BMX starting hills and open Oldsmar BMX Supercross, replace the entry marquee sign on Tampa Road, and resurface the parking lots this coming summer. Moving on to the City Council priority for identifying areas of need for beautification and potential grants, such as tree programs and public art. Strategies included identifying potential beautification improvements for highly visible public spaces that would enhance the appearance of the community. Develop a tree giveaway program for residents to enhance the appearance of neighborhoods and to provide for a larger tree canopy. And then also to continue public art efforts. Completed actions thus far have been, we have held a tree giveaway program distributing 350 trees to support Arbor Day. We actually just did one last weekend as well where we gave away 150 trees. In 2020, we installed new plant material outside of the council chamber in the library. In 2021, we put new plant bed material in the medians along Bayview Boulevard, at the Women's Club, and on the parklet along State Street. 2021, we contracted for mangrove trimming maintenance along Mobley Beach Park, Veterans Memorial Park, and in Ari Olds Park to provide public vistas to the bay. The creation of an Adopt a Street program with 11 participants, conducted regular public workshops relating to gardening and sustainability. We commissioned Taking Flight, which was a public art sculpture by artist Donald Gialinella. We initiated several public pop-up art community exhibits, including Unveil the Trail, the Ribbon Trees, the Gnome Vasion, and Greetings from Oldsmar. We continue to host rotating art exhibits at City Hall, including photography, quilts, and a community puzzle project. We restored Emily the Manatee sculpture, Recently launched the Oldsmar in Orbit, which is a scale model of the solar system in partnership with Nicole Stott. Developed the Oldsmar Art Walk, which is a public art map. We created a public art selection committee and hosted a public survey to select the next piece of public art, which will be located at the Oldsmar Sports Complex. Future actions include to continue to determine and prioritize selected areas for beautification enhancement, continue a tree giveaway program for residents in alternating years, continue City Hall art exhibits, continue interactive pop-up community art projects, continue to maintain the mangroves along the shoreline, and select and install new commissioned public art at the Oldsmar Sports Complex. Thank you.
Hello, Daniel Simpson, Director of Public Works. I'm going to talk about the Harbor Palms infrastructure renovation and upgrade. First, the strategies. We replace or renovate the water, wastewater, stormwater, streets, and sidewalk infrastructure throughout the Harbor Palms subdivision. We work with selected consultants and contractors to complete the construction of infrastructure improvements throughout the neighborhood. We hold public meetings to inform residents and solicit input on neighborhood concerns and priorities, coordinate communication of construction status with impacted residents, sequence construction so work is completed in phases, and explore opportunities for funding and cost-effective design or construction alternatives to reduce financial burden on the city. The completed actions in 2019, construction documents were finalized by Jones Evans and Associates. Phase 1 was awarded to the Keystone Excavators for $4.4 million, and the notice to proceed was issued in June, and construction field activities began in July. In 2020, Phase 1 construction was completed. In 2021, our Dura Group finalized Phase 2 construction plans and documents. Phase 2 was awarded to Douglas N. Higgins Incorporated for $3.4 million. In 2022, Phase 2 construction is ongoing. Phase 3 construction documents and value engineering of the phase has begun, and sewer lining of the final phase has been initiated. Future actions include completion of the construction documents and advertising of Phase 3, completion of Phase 2 construction, complete the final phase of sanitary sewer lining, and construction of Phase 3. The next council priority is develop strategies for maintenance of existing infrastructure. Our strategies include develop a comprehensive inventory of the city's infrastructure assets and components, create a timeline and cost estimate for the replacement and maintenance of identified assets and components where appropriate, increase predictive maintenance evaluations, and perform preventative maintenance tasks to minimize reactive repairs on each infrastructure system. So to date, the completed actions in 2018, the Leisure Service Department completed the maintenance of buildings schedule, providing a comprehensive inventory and assessment of city buildings, and this is updated annually. In 2020, we created a park asset inventory and condition of amenities located within city parks. This also is updated annually. In 2019 and 20, about half of the 8 to 12-inch sanitary sewer lines were assessed using robotic cameras. 70% of the pipe was determined to be in good, fair working condition, while less than 5% were found to be in a structural condition requiring repair. About 30% are in need of general maintenance. The plan is to assess the sanitary sewer system in increments until the entire sanitary gravity piping system is evaluated. In 2017, we assessed our roadways using Paver 7, it's a computer program. With subsequent pavement condition assessments have been performed by staff annually. Results are used to update resurfacing and pavement marking priorities. We completed the watershed management plan for use as an assessment and planning tool. In 2021, our GIS was updated to an online version. Also, a consultant migrated the water, sewer, and reclaimed data to the new platform. The new data set was standardized in the ESRI Local Government Information Model format. Training was provided for staff on the use and field editing of the data to facilitate continuous updating. We purchased and trained staff to use remote control sewer camera for evaluation of sanitary and storm pipes, continued the design of aeration system upgrades and control building improvements, and received a grant for funding. We completed new SCADA system install at the reverse osmosis water treatment plant. We developed a climate resiliency plan, completed a vulnerability assessment and updated emergency response plan, including cybersecurity, and certified to the EPA in compliance with America's Water Infrastructure Act. We upgraded capacity of 1 pump and replaced 4 variable frequency drives at the water system's high service pump station. We improved and hardened our core IT infrastructure. We created a rehabilitation program for lift stations. The Washington Lift Station rehabilitation has been completed. We rehabilitated drainage pipe at Pine and Marlborough Avenue. We purchased a replacement pump for the main lift station at the water reclamation facility. The future actions planned are to continue to update the maintenance of building schedule annually, continue assessment of the remaining sanitary sewer collection system, and either red zone technology or other televising and assessment tools. Continue to update the pavement condition assessment annually. This information will be used to update priorities for citywide street resurfacing program, update sign assessment and maintenance program, integrate data from fuel system to schedule predictive and preventative maintenance and for our service work orders, rehabilitate a minimum of 1 lift station per year, with the Douglas lift station planning this fiscal year, Guller lift station the next, and Pine lift station the next. Initiate new collection system assessment and reporting, finalize design and initiate construction of the WRF aeration and control building improvements, complete wastewater master plan to prioritize and schedule future projects, replace final main lift station pumps, conduct wind classification and flood exposure study at the reverse osmosis water treatment plant, fire station, municipal services building, and Cypress Forest Recreation Center, and conduct a stormwater infrastructure assessment, a 20-year needs analysis report, and stormwater master plan.
Doesn't look like anybody took any time off during COVID.
Yeah.
We should probably give everybody a round of applause for the City of Good employees. That's fantastic. All right, let me switch back to mine. Okay. All right, so here comes some fun part. We have review and prioritize for the next 2 fiscal years for fiscal year 22, 23, and 24. So we're going to review the vision and mission just because I think it's good to have that front and center before we start on any type of strategic planning. And we'll look at the council priorities from this year that you just heard updates on. You did, in your survey, select which ones you think should be carried forward, and there were a few that were unanimous to carry forward. And then we'll review your council member recommendations. So the vision and mission, I know this is probably really small. Pull out their readers, or maybe not some of you younger ones. All right, so the strategic vision, right? Partnering with families, businesses, and visitors to make Oldsmar a creative, vibrant, and thriving community. And the mission statement, to provide leadership, innovation, environmental stewardship, and excellent services in partnership with the community. These are the priorities that you just reviewed, that you heard updates from the staff, and we have 7 of them, and you'll see them in front of you. And I want to let you know that these 3, build the downtown corridor, execute Oldsmar sports complex improvements, and develop strategies for maintenance of existing infrastructure was selected by all 5 of you to carry forward. So that was a unanimous carry these forward. And my partner is going to hand you the priorities that we have. This is just the results of the survey, so you can see here on the screen that the Build the Downtown Corridor was 5 out of 5 said to progress with that, as well as the sports complex and the existing infrastructure. Our recommendation is to include these 3 objectives in our discussion of all strategic priorities, but there was still a lot of energy around the other 4, so many of you thought that there was continued work that had to be done on the other 4. So we will consider the other 4 as well in the final prioritization activity. We don't want to lose any of these because we're still making progress and momentum on these priorities. So what Laurie just handed you is a list of all the strategic priorities that each person submitted. And I just put at the top of my presentation in really small font those 3 that we're going to carry forward. But what I'd like to do is have each person, and I have it listed on that sheet, if you could briefly talk to us about the 3 to maybe 4 priorities that you submitted, so we can hear your perspective and get clarification on what each of these items are.
Thank you. I'll go first. So number 1 item was update the sewer plant infrastructure. As we have been talking the last 2 years about building a downtown, building this new theater district, it is going to increase the capacity for our sewer plant. I feel that this is my number 1 priority for our city so that we are prepared. Our infrastructure is prepared for these updates. So that is why that is my number 1 priority for the city of Oldsmar. And I believe city staff is on top of this already. I think we have a plan focusing on revitalizing that plant so the infrastructure is prepared for this growth for our city. So I think that's number 1. And I think it's important that we make sure that it's safe so we don't have any catastrophes or anything like that. So that's my number 1 priority. The second thing is, with the tragedy recently happening in our city of Oldsmar, I feel that number 2, roadway safety for our citizens, improvement to all our roadways to make sure that everything is intact, that the striping is prepared for the walkways, and everything is in place for our roadway safety for the citizens. That is something we need to all look at together as a council and city staff to make sure that those improvements keep continuing as we move forward with all the stuff that's going on, because I don't think that that's going away. We were having issues in the city where people are speeding and stuff, but I think that that's number 2 priority for me. The number 3 is I would like to see a boat ramp in our city. I think that's an activity for the citizens. My number 3 was maybe Mobley Bayou Beach Park, maybe building a boat ramp. I would like city council maybe someday to have that planning session or talk about that, get some ideas from council of what they think about that. A boat ramp. I went this past weekend, I was in Safety Harbor and I saw their boat. They have 2 boat ramps. We don't have any, and the citizens of Oldsmar have been asking for that. So I think that's an option for a priority for city council. And last but not least, affordable housing plan and review. I think that it might be an issue in the future. I know other council members here are saying the same thing. It might, just past council meeting, we had a Chamber of Commerce quarter of the year, business of the year. He spoke of his employees, and he spoke that he was hoping that there was more affordable housing in the city of Oldsmar. So that's something I would like to address with the council so that we can move forward. I have some ideas that I'd like to share with city staff first before getting their feedback before I share with council, but I have some ideas for affordable housing, and that's about it.
And thank you for sharing those. You're going to see some alignment because, with the handout, you see everybody's priorities that they submitted through their survey. So you could do like a little matching game and like connect the dots from one to another, because you'll see housing and you'll see some of them matching. So thank you for sharing your priorities. All right, Vice Mayor Buckman.
Perfect, so I guess I'm next. All right. So affordable housing in Oldsmar, this is something we're hearing a lot. We hear it from the chamber, we hear it from the businesses, we heard it from, I'm drawing a blank on the name of the business, Sunbelt Staffing, that they're looking for people to live here. I was actually at a recent event where I ran into a county commissioner who was telling me that they just had a deal fall through in South St. Pete, and she wants to help me get some of those funds to North County for affordable housing, so I'm interested in having that discussion with you, Felicia, and see where we can go there. Long-term master plan, where do we want to be 15, 20 years down the road? What is the long-term plan for Oldsmar? Where do we want to be? Who do we want to be? What do we want to be as a city? And that kind of ties into the branding, public relations. I grew up in Tampa, and I think the funniest thing that happened throughout the entire campaign for me was everybody of my family and friends that I grew up in Tampa, live in South Tampa, Brandon area, are like, why do you want to serve on city council at a flea market town? And so we've got to go beyond our borders and get a better branding of who we are. And I know we're working on that, really to make sure that people understand who Oldsmar is. I kind of see us as kind of the gateway to the Northern Pinellas gateway to Pinellas County in Clearwater and things like that. So I think we can leverage a lot of that and go forward with that branding.
All right, so just some clarification, long-term master plan, you're talking about just like a visionary strategic plan looking down the road, just knowing what the end game is, what you're thinking about Oldsmar in 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years.
50, 100. I won't be here.
You don't know that. All right, and then the branding, public relations, promotion, I guess Oldsmar is creating a new logo or is doing some branding efforts with that, so it's continuing those efforts as well?
Continue those efforts, and I know I've talked to a few people in town about this, but kind of a harebrained idea, but getting the float back into Gasparilla, promoting our city out there and talking about what we are and who we are and showing what we can do. So finding those events where we can promote the city outside of the city, I think will help us.
And that's going to be really helpful to get the community input to kind of have the, what is the Oldsmar feel? What is your personality that you want the rest of the county, the state, the United States to know about Oldsmar? What is that? So that'll be a good branding exercise that you can do. And then affordable housing, I was facilitating some St. Pete College nursing shortage conversations where we had all the CEOs from different hospitals, the heads of all the nursing units, and they're saying they're having trouble finding nurses because there's no homes for them to live in that they can afford. So they're having to do contract nursing. So it's affecting every industry with affordable housing. So thank you. All right, Councilmember Graber.
Thank you. As Mayor Siraki had pointed out, enhance road safety, and that correlates with the Safe Routes to School. I know Councilmember Gannon recently joined a Forward Pinellas committee to serve and learn as much as we possibly can and bring that knowledge back to us about that. But several discussions with the people who live downtown and walk to Oldsmar Elementary. My kids go to Forest Lakes, but a lot of those kids walk to school as well. But enhance road safety, the Safe Routes to Schools, I think that's all very front brain right now for all of us. The Save the Bay initiatives, as I discussed before with the vertical oyster gardens, trying to develop some other things. I've tried to do some research on my own, reach out to some people that I know in the industry to try to figure out, is there other things that we can do other than the vertical oyster garden? As Mayor Siraki said, when we check, is it working? Is there something we have to tweak? Those sorts of things, but just in terms of maybe not just for 2 years, but how can we get that to the cleanest point possible? And then just to more events on State Street. When the chamber started handing or having the Second Friday events, everybody seems to like those. But I think that my theory behind it, and I know it's shared with others, is we want people up here to get used to coming up here. The old adage that I used to say was, there's a reason my kids come up to me at 6:55 to brush their teeth, because they know it's time to brush their teeth. If we weren't pushing more events up here, people wouldn't be used to coming here. So if that's the end goal, that would be one of the strategies that I wanted to have. There was also a Mardi Gras event next to the library that was very well received. It's just having people here, getting used to being up here, if we're going to proceed with the downtown. And I think that was more of a sub-priority to the overall downtown priority, but something that I just wanted everyone to consider.
Yeah, thank you. That was one of the additional comments. When I did the survey, just for everybody's information, I had 3 fields for the 3 priorities, and then there was, if there anything else that you want to consider. So that's why you see 4 on some. All right, Councilmember Knapp.
Thank you. So the first one with expanded community engagement, time and time again, and not just myself, I know pretty much everybody sitting up here has heard this from different citizens, is they don't necessarily always know what's going on in the city, whether it's what's taking place at meetings or different events going on. I know it's a challenge. Felicia and I have talked about this all the time, about how to fill the gaps, because not everybody's got email, not everybody's got Facebook. So trying to piece that puzzle together, we've done a great job already, and I think there's still just some opportunities there to try to figure that out. You know, people always mention there used to be an insert in the water bill. Well, it'd be great if we didn't use all the paper to print a water bill, but then what do we do as an alternative to that? The magazine is great. So something in that same vein, but making it a priority to say, how can we eliminate that, consistent complaint of, I don't know what's going on. And that kind of ties into the second one to some extent, but engagement again with our citizens, again, I know we've heard it, especially in the last election cycle, is the citizens want the opportunity to engage with us, preferably in a public forum, to where they can ask us the pointed questions and have the ability for us to respond rather than just taking that commentary from them. So I think that's important. I've had some discussions with the city clerk about that, trying to brainstorm some ideas. So both of those kind of fit into that, the existing priority of quality of place, continue efforts to become more automated and connected city, essentially could potentially become one of those bulleted strategies within that priority. The third one, developing a plan for community theater. I know that that's somewhat hanging in the balance, contingent upon whether that plan continues to move forward in the direction that it seems it is moving forward. But I think that's an important piece of how to create that new identity for our city. A lot of people are clamoring for the possibility of it being there, not just within our city limits. So I think putting that as one of those bullets within our Build the Downtown Corridor is pretty important. And then the final one, which I think has kind of been echoed already, the strategic development plan for a successful downtown, or a master plan. I know I ran into, I believe at the last year's Florida League of Cities conference, a commissioner from Newport Richey, and they were raving about how they had this master plan that they developed for their downtown and how it's kind of snowballed and took flight. And people that I know that live in that area and raving about how that developed over time. So I think, and it sounds like there's probably a pretty good consensus on that as far as really having a clearer vision or picture of what our downtown is going to look like compared to what it is now. So I think that covers all of mine.
Thank you. And I think you also brought up a really good point that some of these are bullets or strategies under other priorities. It's great ideas that you brought forward. So also, as you're looking at everybody's priorities, also kind of, if you want to circle ones that you think could go together, because we're going to take a minute to synthesize some of these, maybe combine some of these. Some of these are actually the strategic priorities. Some could be strategies or tactics underneath those. So if you think they kind of go together, feel free again to do that matching exercise, start circling and combining them.
Okay.
All right, Councilmember Gannon.
Thank you. Yeah, the way I went about this, I actually took our 2013 strategic issues, which was public relations, economic development, sustainability or environmental, infrastructure, transportation, quality of place, and human capital. And then I kind of looked at the recent branding feedback that we got from the groups that met in January. And I looked at the council priorities over time, going back to, I've got my little notebook back to 2016, but I think we got back all the way to, 2017, 2018, and some of the stuff, notes that we were provided before today's conference. And so when I looked at those things all together, and then I looked at our mission statement, I literally took words out of the mission statement. So I took from our mission statement the words leadership, innovation, environment, services, partnership. And then using that, I kind of tried to think, okay, what's missing? So what I came up with was long-term planning for parks, transportation, and provision of city services. And I know that sounds like 3 different priorities, but I think, as was already mentioned by Vice Mayor Buckman, long-term planning, period. And then, a lot can go under that, whether it's a master plan for parks or a master plan for transportation or a master plan for sewage or stormwater. A lot of types of planning can become encompassed in that. The second one I put was connecting more with our residents through marketing, interactive planning, and targeted programming. One of the key phrases in there for me was interactive planning. So we've talked about planning and that long-range planning, and then I'm thinking a component of that should be that community engagement. I guess for me, that would fall into that partnership bucket in our mission statement, that our partners are our residents and stakeholders, which include businesses and people who live here or want to live here. Another part of that partnership for me, I'm jumping down to the last one I put, which was retaining and recruiting talented staff, encouraging training and support for their innovative ideas, because we're here for 6 years, 3 years, 6 years. We have staff members that have been here their entire career. We have staff members who have made their entire career out of city government, municipal government work, and they're going to be here hopefully after we're gone. And so I think it's really important that we attract and retain that kind of talent, because that's who carries forward these priorities, right? That's who implements these strategies and brings it to the finish line. It's not me out there handing out trees or coming up with the next idea. It's Chip. It's Chip Potts, and it's not me trying to figure out how we should update our personnel procedures and what types of work environments or flexible scheduling or benefits we should provide. No, that's Michelle Cutt. She's right over there. I don't do that. That's not my job, And, Cindy Neno and her administrative services staff, they know the financial health of the city. Daniel Simpson and our, public works department. I think that making sure we have those components in place ensures that long after we're all gone, the city continues forward, regardless of who's sitting up here. I think that's an important component of it. And then my third one was supporting economic development and existing businesses to attract more jobs and families, including workforce housing. So I don't know if this is a difference or a similarity, because for me, I think we need workforce housing, not affordable housing. Affordable housing, to me, is just above subsidized housing. And then we have workforce housing, which I think is the type of housing that we're missing, the missing middle. And then you kind of have like the single family home structure that is in place throughout most of our city. And so for me, it was interesting. I have the benefit of going last. I found a lot of similarities in kind of 4 different buckets: infrastructure, long-term planning, community outreach, and sustainability or quality of place kind of topics. So that was really encouraging to me. But this is a really comprehensive list. So I thank everybody for putting in a lot of effort here.
Yeah, what's interesting is kind of going back to the Compass activity that we did and the different styles. Everybody approached it differently. One of you may have sat down at the survey and these were already kind of floating in your mind and you put them down. You took time to look at the mission statement and the historical documents, but you have a really good, solid list of priorities and you're all aware of where you want to take the city. So it's exciting that you have different styles, but you're all coming in. There's a lot of alignment that I'm seeing. I don't know about you, but like the Q&A listening sessions, I'm thinking that falls under your
I
engagement.
wrote down community outreach, and then I wrote Katie, Jared, Andrew, promotion, engagement, marketing, Q&A. I put all of that, together. And then mine, the innovative, interactive planning, targeted programming, like, wow.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what I want to do, we have 19 ideas that came in through priorities, plus an additional 3, and you have the list there. Your list has the 3 highlighted from the current fiscal year that you were unanimously pulling forward, but may be combined with some of the other ones, or some of the ones that you submitted in the survey may fall together with these. So I just want to know, what alignment do you see? And not talking about necessarily buckets, but if you could tell me like what number, because I'm going to do some editing here on the fly.
What number of the 22?
So right here.
Screen changes.
Oh, we're screen changing.
I changed.
I gotcha.
What was that?
I need multicolor highlighters.
Katie, you got one here?
Used to have, oh, here.
Here, you want one? We got it? Okay.
Oh, you have some highlighters?
I have one.
Okay.
I have one. Yeah.
Thanks.
I got cough drops. You want a cough drop?
I'm good on the
How
golf
long's that
drops.
been?
I don't know.
Okay. So we have 19 ideas that came in. Did I hit it? We have 19 ideas that came in, and there were 6 from the prior, 7. So what I'd like to do is, which ones do you see alignment on from 1 through 19?
4 and 5.
Definitely see 4 and 5, so I'm just gonna
Yes.
group those together.
I think,
And then also the
8 and
roadway
10.
safety.
8 and 10.
Yeah, I think
and one.
1, 2.
All right, okay, so
Sorry.
when we do the merger, let me tell you the rules of the game.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We do 2 at a time.
Oh.
So instead of going this, and this, let's start with 2 at a time. And the reason we need to go a little slow is because we do have a prioritization electronic exercise we're going to do, and Lori's going to keep up with us making the changes. So all we've done so far is we've combined 4 and 5.
Do you want to keep it verbiage at 4 or 5?
What do you think? Keep the verbiage of 4 or 5?
Or combine
Probably 5, right?
affordable housing plan review and Oldtown?
Yes.
4.
How about affordable housing plan and review in Oldsmar?
There you go.
Combine them both.
Now, I kind of would like, I don't know if anybody else agrees with this, but I kind of like Councilmember Gannon's workforce housing to be included in that. I think that's a strategy that we can all talk about, because that might be something too, because it is housing. We do have a need for it. Is that something, or we should leave that out?
No, I think that's great to put the housing with the housing. I mean, but it's up to you. It's your decision. Because I know you were thinking about it being separate, like affordable housing versus
Yeah, 'cause
workforce
to
housing.
me,
so
affordable housing is provided through the county. The county provides affordable housing at Eastlake Oaks and Westminster, and it's managed through state funding, which comes down through the county, and then the county administers affordable housing projects throughout the area. What I was talking about was more of an economic development kind of thing, which is attracting the development of workforce housing on either privately owned land, but not a publicly provided or developed or maintained type of housing, which is more of what I think. When I think affordable housing, I think of county-provided housing.
Okay.
So would you like me, so for number 4, I can change it to affordable housing plan and review in Oldsmar. For 5, I could keep it there and put workforce private housing.
Yeah, that would be fine. Attracting workforce housing.
I think it's number 18 is already there.
There, yeah.
Yeah, or so it's now
It's kind of
17.
in there, yeah.
Yeah, it's at the end.
Okay,
So I will remove 5.
thank you. Okay. What other 2 do you see in alignment? I know we're talking about the safe streets. Which 2? So would that be like 2 and 9?
2 and 8.
2 and 8.
2 and 8.
2 and 8.
Thank you. All right, so we have roadway safety for the citizens, improvements to current roadways, and safe routes to school combined.
Oh, wait, you said 2 and 8.
And 10.
It's 2 and 9. It's the old list. 'Cause that might-
2 and 8.
Enhanced road safety.
Yeah, it should be enhanced road safety and then roadway safety for the citizens.
Oh, thank you. Stand by. So we would tell our kids, stand by. Okay, move that one up. So how would you like that one to read now that we've combined 2 and 8? We have roadway safety for the citizens, improvements to current roadways, and enhanced road safety.
Enhancing road safety to current roadways.
Enhancing roadway safety.
Yeah, enhancing safety,
For
sorry.
all modalities.
Yeah, right.
Here we go.
Bit of a
You guys are really good at wordsmithing.
I do that, that's my job.
All right, so Lori, I have enhancing roadway safety for all modalities.
Yeah.
Do you want me to leave in improvements to current roadways?
Nope. Thank you. All right. All right, what else?
6 and 16.
So long-term master plan and long-term planning.
Just throw a master in 16 and I think you got it.
Okay, so we have, and I want to make sure that so the long-term master plan, do you want to say like long-term strategic development plan, long-term city plan? Are you comfortable?
I think we could combine them both in a way like master plan for, and then, it's not necessarily various departments, it's,
Well,
I mean, we're updating our comprehensive plan. So I think an updated comprehensive plan would encompass all of those things to a certain extent.
How does, what's entailed in the comprehensive plan that you have?
It's very outdated. Not much
Felicia's
that, not
turning her
much
head.
that
She's
we'll
like,
be
"Don't look at me."
keeping, but Felicia could probably give an overview of what that looks like. Not to put her on the spot, but she might be able to give you some.
Yeah, I can give a brief update about that. But the comprehensive plan really sets the vision for the city. So it contains several regulatory elements that have supporting policies of what, our city's going to look like. I always think of it from a physical environment, right? So it's got a transportation element that has objectives and policies and or policies that come out of that. It talks about multimodal coordination. There's a coastal element. There's an environmental element. There's a housing element that's a statutorily required element of the comp plan.
That's kind of like master.
25-year master vision plan.
Yeah, that's like well, should we call it what it is? Is it called by statute a comprehensive plan?
It's called a comprehensive plan. It's got land use elements. So we just received the proposals back, I think last week. So we're going to be coming forward to moving forward with that effort. It's also going to include a very robust community engagement element in that plan. So it really is the roadmap to the future, is the comp plan, and we're already starting that process.
Updated comprehensive plan. Update Oldsmar's comprehensive plan.
Yes, I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah.
I think that sounds like
Thanks for that.
the priority, and then several of these items that are on this list probably fall as
Definitely fit
the
into that.
strategies within that priority.
Yeah, like you were talking about the strategy
Right,
within
because
the-
you've got your plan that's about more city operations, and then a
Jared's
downtown
talking
plan,
about-
a
Yeah,
master
you're talking
plan.
about downtown. Jared's
Those
talking
all
about
kind
the-
of fit into that comprehensive
Yeah,
plan
I
mold
think you're
that
right.
obviously is on the horizon.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right, so I just, I took out long-term master plan, and I have updated comprehensive plan. Let me ask City Manager Donnelly, so there's so much that's encompassed in that comprehensive plan. Should I be particular about which parts go into it? Because there's quite a few in here that probably fit into that.
I think I can talk a little more about that too. So the comprehensive plan really is going to give us, policies to support these elements and a vision of what our community looks like. It doesn't replace the need for like a specific Parks and Recreation master plan or a specific a water supply plan or stormwater plan, and you saw some of those are forthcoming. But this is the guiding policy kind of overall vision. So I think that those others may be able to I think that the comp plan is probably a first effort because that's laying out the roadmap, and then you follow it up by these
By the other
specific
related.
plans. And some of those can run concurrently, like a water supply plan or stormwater master plan, right? But they're not exactly the same thing, but they support each other.
So would, I'm wondering if I'm just thinking like the goal versus the objective, right? So is the goal
Planning.
long-term planning, and then the objectives would be comprehensive plan, the stormwater plan, the
Downtown.
transportation plan, downtown plan, that kind of thing?
Correct.
Okay, got it.
So the comp plan could be one thing, and then we had talked about, at the last council meeting, about asking Forward Pinellas to help us with a downtown mobility study.
I gotcha. Okay.
Gotta have lots of
High-level
plans.
planning.
Yes.
Gotta have a plan.
Okay, so it looks like we have a new one then, which says updated comprehensive plan. Is that something that city council would need to say as an objective if it's already in the works?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. So we'll leave the updated comprehensive plan, or excuse me, we'll add that. So updated comprehensive plan, if you could add that. And then we did have, which I took out, well, I'm gonna put it back in, long-term planning for parks, transportation, and provision of city services. Well, those are different areas. So is that something that they would have separate? They should be separate items, because those are big items. So long-term planning for parks. So Lori, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna separate it. I'm just gonna have long-term planning for parks, long-term planning for transportation, long-term planning for provision of city services. Does that make sense as far as a comprehensive plan, or to be its own separate small plans that have guiding principles from the updated comprehensive plan? Okay. So then your exercise, the prioritization exercise, the challenge is going to be to determine which one of these you're going to dive into in the next couple fiscal years, because the comprehensive plan is going to guide the city, but then you might want to focus on the downtown plan or the sewer plan, or is that correct? Like, you can't do all of the small plans. The city, like, it would be difficult, I think, for the staff to do all the different plans in the next 2 years.
So for the one that you called the transportation plan, could that be combined with safe routes to school, maybe? Because that would be part of a transportation plan?
I would think so.
Yeah.
I would think so, but I want clarification, though.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, we do have an existing multimodal plan that I think was brought forward a couple years ago.
Yeah, you're right.
So an overall, so downtown mobility plan would just focus on downtown, where a safe routes to school could focus on two different elementary schools, And then one of those would be a priority, right? Because Safe Routes to School comes with grant money for one. So you could say Safe Routes to School for Oldsmar Elementary School, particularly in maybe a downtown mobility plan. And then Councilmember Gannon, back to, Parks and Recreation master plan would be a separate item.
All right, so thank you for that clarification. So safe routes to school needs to be kept separate from transportation, because you want to focus on just the two schools there.
That clarification. Maybe we.
So number 1 and number 22?
Update sewer plant infrastructure and develop strategies for maintenance of existing infrastructure.
Yeah, I think Mayor's right. The
Yeah,
sewer plant
number one fits
infrastructure
into
would
number
kinda-
22.
Yeah, 22 kind of
Yes,
encompasses
I would.
one.
So the one that you've already unanimously said that you want to continue focusing on, which we've heard a lot about today, is maintenance for existing infrastructure. And then have the update sewer plant infrastructure under that. Let me just glance over at City Manager Donnelly. They can be combined, right? Because it's an infrastructure plan. Sewer plant would not have to be separated. Correct, thank you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and you have that here. So I'm going to. Okay, thank you. So it's on my document number 19 as I combined one with the one that was there. Yes, it'll be different order. Okay. All right, what else?
Vice Mayor, what do you think about 7 and 17?
So the branding, public relations, and promotion with connecting more residents through marketing, interactive planning, and targeted programming.
Yeah, I know your rule is 2 by 2 by 2, but
2 by 2, but there's really 4 on there. 7, 12, 13, and 17.
yeah, 12 and 13 are kind of
Right.
all in that
Yeah, they are.
mix.
Yep.
So the branding, public relations, promotion. Let me just make a dot there. The expanded community engagement, is that the one that you were saying with 12? Or 13 with the listening sessions?
I think 7 and 17 are probably closer related to one another.
Okay,
But
Yeah.
12 and 13 are closer related, but they all fall under one category.
okay. Is there typically a plan within the comprehensive plan that focuses on marketing, branding, community engagement? There isn't. Okay. Okay. So I'm going to combine 7 and 17, the branding and connecting more with our residents through marketing, interactive planning, and targeted programming. Okay. Did you say that you wanted to combine the 12 and 13?
What do you think, Andrew? Different?
I mean, they're in the same vein, but they're kind of separate
Okay.
initiatives.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I was circling back to as far as, for fiscal year 21, 22, we have 7 high-level priorities, but now I just forgot the number, I lost count, but I want to say there's about 25 specific strategies within or aligned within those 7 priorities. And some of what's in our new list now may not be the the 30,000 foot view. This is the priority with certain things to tackle within it. And I just kind of I'm almost trying to anticipate your exercise of how we're going to rank things, because some things are more of a pretty specific task or project versus the high level, all encompassing
I agree.
things that are very aligned in terms of what city staff works on, and pretty much the way I understand it is we kind of set that high level things, and then staff would be the ones kind of setting those, or
Right.
picking those strategies that fit within that overarching bucket. So it's almost like in some of these, we're kind of getting hung up in maybe some of the finer details.
Like the individual projects.
Yeah,
as
and
opposed
like
to-
nixing them out versus saying, all right, these all are unique things that fit within a more overarching theme.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, I agree. For the one that is build the downtown corridor from the current fiscal one that we're moving forward,
Yeah, I mean, there's six,
and
seven.
I know that we also have strategic development plan for successful downtown. Is the building the downtown corridor, does it have a strategic plan with it?
It doesn't currently.
Okay.
And it doesn't, I'll answer so.
Yeah, thank you.
That it's not a strategy or an item because of the planning efforts that already exist.
So the planning has already happened for building the downtown corridor? Okay. With that in mind, should I take out number 15?
Yeah, I think it aligns already with what is item 1 under the current priorities.
Yes, build the downtown corridor. Wonderful. So I'm gonna take out the, yeah, okay. Yep. All right. So what about the Mobley Bayou Beach Park dock with boat ramp?
I think to me, like an individual project like that is sort of like, I mean, I know we don't want to talk about the buckets, but I wrote that down in, sustainability, quality of place, placemaking, like it's a project sort of like the Oyster Gardens or that Steve was talking about, which I think
What was the
put on Save the Bay initiatives was what Steve put on the actual list, number 9. It's like a like Andrew was just saying, like a project that fits within an overall.
It's quality of place, for sure.
Yeah, it's a quality of place. We're trying to create a quality of place for our residents and an amenity, really, for our residents.
So I'm adding one that says continue efforts toward quality of place, and in parentheses so far I have the Mobley Bayou Beach Park. Is there another one that would fit?
Save the Bay.
Yeah, Save the Bay
Save the
initiatives
Bay.
would fit. More events in State Street.
That's different. That's different. Sorry, what?
Save the Bay
Number
and
9.
more events on State Street, like those placemaking.
I'm going to look at City Manager Donnelly again. I have continue efforts toward quality of place. Does it make sense to put the beach park with the Save the Bay initiatives, or does it need to be separated?
I think that needs to be separated because one's a capital project and one's
True.
programmatic.
One's a sustainability program, the other is a capital improvement project.
Okay.
Yeah, the Save the Bay almost kind of aligns within identify areas of need of beautification, one of the existing priorities. We're trying to
Yeah.
beautify our water, right?
Yeah, and that's I thought the same thing, and is it in that bucket? Because the way that read to me was, does that say, it's beautification, potential grants, programs and public, like tree programs and public art, is that sustainability, environmental stewardship?
Or do we
That's-
modify that to
Yeah,
include
that's
more
what I
of that?
wrote when I was preparing. I wrote transform or modify the beautification public art
Yeah.
because I put maybe more placemaking or sustainability efforts as opposed to.
Yeah.
That we're not proactive, but making it a priority to say, hey, we've been and we're gonna continue to be proactive in our
That way we
stewards-
can
our
focus
stewardship.
on programming instead of capital improvement projects.
Mhm. But that's why I didn't select that to be carried over, because
Right,
I
'cause
think
it
we have the
needs to
same
be-
thought, yeah. It needs to be.
So we can modify that one, identify areas of need for beautification and potential grants.
And that one's, it's a little wordy.
Yeah.
Do you want to say, identify areas of need for beautification, sustainability, and potential grants?
Identify areas. Or is that too big? I don't know. Felicia, can you help us? I think you know where we're all kind of.
And I think too, Councilmember Graber, when you were talking about that, and we have the climate resiliency plan that was adopted, that kind of fits nicely under that and the objectives for that. So whether or not maybe it's a bigger bucket, and then we have some of the programs, but maybe it's to implement the climate resiliency plan objectives, and I believe that there's education parts of that as well, although I'd have to check on that, but maybe there's some way to encapture that, because I feel that those are kind of two different things, right?
So to clarify, you were saying update the climate resiliency plan?
It's updated, but it's the
Execute, okay. Should I add the execute climate resiliency plan?
Execution of the initiatives within the climate resiliency plan.
Okay.
I would offer up, I'd say, the one that I put on there as far as the theater, that one I think is more of a specific strategy that fits within priority number 1 of the downtown corridor.
I think
It's not a high-level priority, it's
yeah.
a specific strategy within that high level.
Number is that, Councilmember Knapp?
Number 14 belongs nested within number 1. Not on our new list, but I guess
Okay.
number 20
Yeah.
on the master list.
And
Got it.
I'd say the same for number 11.
Thank you.
That's all
Yep.
part of getting
Yeah.
everybody up here.
The
Definitely.
downtown corridor is from here to
And
the
around.
corner, then to the library, and yeah,
Yep.
that's true.
So I'm moving the Safe Street and the community theater.
Not Safe Street, more events, number 11, right?
Number
Did you
11.
say
11.
Safe Street or State Street?
State Street.
Sorry, State Street. Thank you. I've been all about safety today.
Yeah.
So what about 1 and 22?
Yeah, I think 1 is specific within the higher overarching of
Yeah, we
number
already
22.
got that.
I didn't have it crossed off. I missed it.
All right, so from a technical perspective, I don't know if we can get my screen on their screens. Is it possible?
I don't think their screens are working.
Okay, got it.
We can only get it,
We can see that one.
we can, see that one up there.
All right, so let me read what I have. I have enhancing roadway safety for all modalities. That's the first one I have. Second one, I have the Mobley Bayou Beach Park dock with boat ramp. I'm not sure where that one is falling. Did we determine where that one's? No, okay. We have affordable housing plan and review. We have updated comprehensive plan. And then we have long-term planning for parks, long-term planning for transportation, long-term planning for provision of city services. We separated those. Connecting more with our residents through marketing, interactive planning, and targeted programming with branding, public relations, and promotion. We have Save the Bay initiatives. We have Safe Routes to School. We have expanded community engagement. We have council Q&A listening sessions, which I thought we were going to combine that. Decide not to. Supporting economic development in existing businesses to attract more jobs and families, including workforce housing. Retaining, recruiting talented staff, and the training and supporting innovative ideas. We have developed strategies for maintenance of existing infrastructure from the current fiscal year, and we added the sewer plant infrastructure with that one. Build downtown corridor, we added the community theater and the State Street area with that one. And we have the identify areas of need for beautification of potential grants. I didn't know if you wanted to change and remove the tree programs and public art, or if that's one we want to carry forward. We have a new one, execution of initiatives within climate resiliency plan, and we have the execute Oldsmar complex improvements, sports complex improvements.
I wish you could read that. I'm gonna see it like.
It's
Sorry,
big.
I'm like a
It's big.
Visual.
I'm a visual person.
I know. What I will do is I will email this to you. We can actually, is it in XSleep now?
Yeah, I just was missing one and I think I found it.
Okay.
Just give me 1 moment.
Not sure what this is doing. Standing by. Touch new. There we go. Okay, so if you want to see them all, if you'll go back to your XSleep program. So the next activity, let me show you what I wanted to do with these priorities. So we have 2 activities. If we could put it up on the screen so they could see it. Activity 1 is rating the importance of each strategic priority. So here's a good part. You don't have to like move 19 to 1 and do all that. You just kind of want to go through them and rank it low, medium, or high. That's the main thing, is you're going to rate each priority as low, medium, and high. Low importance doesn't mean that it's not important. It just means it can be done after these next 2 fiscal years, because you can only do so much in 2 years. Medium importance is just falling in the middle. High importance means you must initiate it within 2 years. So that's the thing. All these priorities that you have brought forward are all extremely important, but which one of these need to be initiated within the next 2 years? And then also, if it would help if you would add a rating explanation, and I did put up there in the instructions some examples. If that examples get in the way, you can close that up. What?
Right, did you get the email?
Gotta go back into XSleep.
Oh. We'll close it and go back in. I still didn't get it.
Thank you. All right, so this first activity, you're going to take these, how many are there? 19 items in there now? 22? Okay. Oh yeah, because we had the 3 others. Thank you. So we have 22 items, and you're ranking them as low, medium, or high. If you have a strong opinion towards one, you want to give an explanation, that's always helpful. Please do.
I can't get in. I'm trying.
Do you want to give them the iPad?
I'm gonna try to log in again.
All right, 1 more time, otherwise I'll give you the iPad, okay? Put some kind of firewall going on.
Execute Oldsmar Sports Complex improvements on your.
All right, I got in. I'm in.
Yeah, number 16 and 22.
All right, let me get rid of
Did you get in?
Yep, I got in.
Okay, perfect. So you can minimize that if you want. and then just select 1, 2, or 3 for each one, low, medium, or high. 3 is high,
Gotcha.
and then you can put in a rating explanation.
So 3 is high.
And you can always close this up, that arrow up.
Like we're missing one then.
We're not including the other 4.
Hopefully you have them all in there, like the transfer measure.
I thought we combined 15 with 11.
You see them combined later, so
Oh, okay.
I don't know about those specifically, but some of the combinations are just lower on the list.
Got it.
What number was that?
I had thought that we combined 11 with 15.
We did.
Okay, that's.
We got rid of 11, but it was combined, and State Street needs to be, that was combined.
Okay, we're good, we're back to 19.
Thank you. So as a reminder, high means that it must be initiated within 2 years. That's the number 3. So it doesn't mean that it's not going to get done, doesn't mean that it's not part of the comprehensive plan. Just means that it's not going to be initiated within 2 years. High, well, high means it is. I mean, it did also.
I can't wait to see what's next. I still feel like a lot of these are project oriented as opposed to like priority oriented, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you could put that in your comments too. In 5 minutes, you're going to put your pencils down? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
Christmas string at like the SAT.
Oh, no, don't do that. I know you're not.
So are 15 and 18 the same, or are we just gonna rate them and just act as though they're both the same rating? Okay.
Looks like we have 2 out of 5 council members have submitted. 3 now? 3? Don't forget to hit the submit at the bottom.
Push submit.
At the very bottom, there's a check.
You cannot change your mind. Got it.
No second thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It says I didn't rate one. This one?
Have to rate them all, can't
I didn't miss any. I rated them all. Oh, this one. Oh, okay.
No skips.
All right.
No skips, no reverses.
Yeah. Yeah, no reverses.
Okay, so coming up on your screen is going to be the table ranked from highest to lowest. So, and if you want to remove the standard deviation, you can. All right, so number 1, connecting more with our residents through marketing, interactive planning, and targeted programming, including branding, public relations, and promotion, was tied for the first highest one, along with number 2, develop strategies for maintenance of existing infrastructure, which is one of the ones you had already unanimously decided to move forward with from last year or this past fiscal year, and safe routes to school. So that's really high on your mind. I'm going to look at the comments. If you click the check mark on the far right, you can see the comments. The connecting with our residents through marketing, interactive planning, targeted programming comment was already beginning pursuit of this initiative. We already do a good job, but we all need to review and come up with improvement ideas.
You gotta click
The check mark on the far right is the comments.
and then
Oh,
that box.
there, got it. Okay.
We had 4 comments on the developed strategies. We had, this will be keeping replacement costs low. This is for maintenance of existing infrastructure. Important to keep costs of future repairs, maintenance, replacement minimized, currently in progress. As we grow, this is most important. Coming from somebody whose sewage water leaked into the ocean near me, I'm so happy you're doing this. I don't live in Oldsmar, though. But I'll tell you what, it is really important. It's not a sexy project, but it's really important.
Right.
I know. Is it possible, IT, to put my screen up on the screen? And not just the slide deck?
Currently, we are shooting your screen to the front. What we would need you to do is exit out of what you have, which is presentation mode for your PowerPoint presentation.
Thank you.
There we go. And when you switch back to your PowerPoint, be sure to put it back in presentation mode. That'll shoot your PowerPoint back to the screen.
Great. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, so number 3, the safe routes to school, that also ranked very high. Comments were not many resources needed to see considerable improvements, project-oriented rather than priority, but important, needs higher objective. So that comment, I'm assuming, was what you were saying about some of these are projects So Safe Routes to School is a project, so there might be an overarching objective that it could fit under. And work together to get this completed. Then after that, we have Build the Downtown Corridor, which includes the developing plan for community theater, potential for more events in the State Street area, followed by Develop Strategies for Maintenance of Existing Infrastructure. So those two were high. There was a duplicate for that, but they both ranked really high. Then Enhancing Roadway Safety for All Modalities. And there were some comments there as well. Residents have had many safety complaints over the years. It's time to act. Again, this is project-oriented rather than priority, but important needs higher objective. Recent events must make this a priority, specifically with this being a very hot topic with our citizens. So you're recognizing that safety is something that your residents are asking for, roadway safety. Number 7, updated comprehensive plan, which is something in the works, so that's great. Execute Oldsmar Sports Complex improvements, that was carried over from the prior year. Expanded community engagement, and so forth, and you can see those. Now, here's the trick. So we have these priorities that we have ranked as high, medium, and low. You typically only want 5 to 7 objectives to say, this is what we want to do over the next 2 fiscal years. If you get any more than that, there's just not enough usually staff or budget. So take a look at those top items. You can go down to number 8, because number 8 is actually 7 if we took out the duplicate number 2. So look beyond 8. Is there any that really need to be moved up in front of the other ones? That's what you just want to consider. So what I'd like to do, and there was one that was duplicate. So for the next activity, we're going to take out that duplicate of the infrastructure. Did you want to carry all of these forward or any of the ones that were low? So take a look at the ones that are at the bottom of the list. Like the Mobley Bayou Beach Park, the Dock with Boat Ramp, Save the Bay initiatives, long-term planning for provision of city services, long-term planning for parks, affordable housing plan, and long-term planning for transportation. Did you want to carry those forward in the ranking activity? Because the next activity, what I'm going to do is have you move things up and down to say, this is what I feel should be our first priority, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of
I'm having a little bit
course.
of trouble because to me, these aren't all priorities. So moving them up and down becomes a little bit arbitrary if it's not a priority. It's a project, you know what I mean?
Yes. So we can, if you'd like, we can take the ones that we feel are projects and develop a priority for it.
Yeah, I think that could be
Or
helpful.
if it fits within one of these.
Because I don't want to end up with a list of
Projects.
7 projects without, because
Yes.
then the staff can't execute, a bunch of projects. They need a priority that they can do
Yes.
in their lane,
I love where you're going with this. So the way to look at it is, if you accomplish that project, what did you achieve? And that is the way to think about what is that priority. So
I like reading the feedback too of the other council members of what they have to say for some of these items. I think that's really important.
So let me ask you this, for example, with Safe Routes to Schools, obviously we all rated that one high, right? But that's not really, it could be a priority in and of itself, or is it a project related to something related to quality of place with a sub-description or infrastructure? Are there other things that are infrastructure that's not just safety?
That's a great question. Like, if we got the grant funding because Safe Routes to School is the name of the project. So if we accomplish Safe Routes to School, if we get that, if we implement that, what's the higher purpose that we will have accomplished? Like enhance safety, or what?
Is it
Felicia, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
I'm trying to wordsmith it, but it's kind of two-pronged, right? Because it's safety related, which is a little touchy-feely, but when you get down to it, it's streets. Like
it's.
Part of your
it's a
infrastructure,
part of an
transportation,
infrastructure,
yeah.
transportation
Yeah.
issue. So maybe, Felicia, could you provide us some guidance on what, if that's like a capital program, or what is the overarching goal there?
I think Safe Routes to School actually could stand on its own. And the reason is it's a unique program, right? So we're looking at master planning, you know, within that 2-mile radius of a school through kind of a program that's already set with protocol, that has community engagement, that has different program elements. I think it actually is, and then it would come, so after you do all the planning and you get community involved and we go through, you know, the specifics of developing the program, then the capital projects are a direct output of that. So I think Safe Routes to School may be an anomaly. I think it could be
So that
kind
could
of
be
on its own.
own project, sort of like execute Oldsmar Sports Complex improvements.
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. Is there another one perhaps that we could lump into a higher purpose that could be more of a priority than a project?
Y'all have to excuse me, I've got to run to the airport. Can I continue this on the iPad in the car on the next exercise?
Do we need a motion for him to be excused, Tom? Okay, thank you.
If you leave, you can participate.
It's over Wi-Fi, it's over, no,
Yeah, but your actions aren't being recorded
got it, understood.
contemporaneously by the city clerk.
Okay,
And look,
The answer to the question is you cannot participate once you leave the meeting.
understood. Thank you.
See you, Jared.
Take care.
travel safely.
Yep. Be safe, Vice Mayor.
Levels. Thank you for being here, Vice Mayor Buckman. Appreciate you. I'm running a report of these so I can modify them on the fly with our objectives.
The other thing, I guess, just to point out too, is we had the list of where we started with 22, and 3 of those being the current priorities, and then the other 4 weren't really left for consideration at all. And I don't know if all those would be things that need to be considered to be dropped or still brought forward.
The other 4 are going to be in the next exercise where we rank up and down, yeah.
Got
So
it.
I
No worries. This is new stuff, right?
all right, so let me pull this up. Let me,
Mostly new. Because like for example, with what we're talking about right now, item number 1 and item number 9 are fairly similar, and maybe 9 is the broader overarching thing, with item number 1 being more of the strategy within it.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
And number 13, that one too would fit under number 9.
Yeah, like expanded community engagement. Okay, well, every department we have could execute on that
Yep.
priority in different ways, you know what I mean?
Yep.
So that's what I mean,
Going
like
through the
over.
rankings, that's where I would put the lower priority on the ones that I thought fit into the more broad
yeah.
categories.
As
So
a
it's
program or
this
project
is
within the
gonna be a
priority.
part of this, so
Mhm.
it doesn't have the higher priority of the overarching theme of the priority.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one, as far as engagement,
Mhm.
whether that already aligns with the quality of place, automated connected city, or it's its own new thing. It still, I think, is probably quality of place, but
Yeah, I think
there's probably a
quality
lot
of
that you
place,
can lump
but
into it.
then, I like the words expanded community engagement, because that's kind of broad enough that
Yeah.
you could fit a lot of things in there,
Right.
but narrow enough that it's not just quality of place. We're talking about a specific type of quality of place
Yes.
we want to generate with, you know,
Yes.
community engagement quality of place. you
People
know?
engaging with people, with our parks, our services.
Yeah.
the council, all that. There's
Yeah.
a lot that goes into that.
Right.
I just deleted the other one that was a duplicate. Yeah, hold on just a minute. We'll load it in just a second. Okay, so the first one, are you in agreement that that needs to move forward to a ranking activity, the connecting more with our residents?
Yes.
Yes. And then I deleted the second one because that was a duplicate. And then the next one's safe routes to school.
Yep.
Yes.
And then build the downtown corridor.
Yes.
Then we have develop strategies for maintenance of existing infrastructure, update sewer plant infrastructure.
Absolutely.
Then we have enhancing roadway safety for all modalities.
Yes.
That's where I'm kind of like, okay, does that go into develop strategies for maintenance of existing infrastructure? Do you see what I'm
Is
saying?
that a
Where it
separate
kinda-
item or together?
Or like an infrastructure for new, like improvements, updates and improvements.
I think that's a separate item too, right? Because, you know, with Daniel's presentation about our infrastructure improvements, I mean, while it can support, I think that I hear you all, you know, that's extremely important to you as a separate item, right?
Okay.
So I don't think they all have to be, you know, everything has to feed up necessarily, but as a, that this is important to you as a separate item.
Okay. So then, yes, 6.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so,
to the next exercise.
6 is a yes.
and then updated comprehensive plan. Quick point of clarification, City Manager Donnelly, if you're already in progress with that, is that something, number 7, that needs to be included as a priority? Yes. I see a lot of head nodding. All right, and then execute Oldsmar Sports Complex improvements. So we're trying to get these actually down to no more than 7.
So I think Andrew made a great point that 9 really fits into
With
1,
one.
or 9 could be the overarching priority for number 1.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Okay, so.
I'd say replace or count 9 as maybe the score of number 1. Obviously, that's the most important thing within
Yeah.
the
Yeah. Hold
on.
overarching theme of number 9.
Okay, there we go. Go ahead.
Yeah, and you could actually combine, you know, safe routes to school with enhancing roadway safety, right? Different than an entire transportation bucket.
Just making our
but it-
community safer,
But it
right?
could be that, you know, enhancing roadway safety for all modalities, including safe routes to school, right? Because that is kind of
There
a
we go.
program part of that. And that might help you all
Then we
narrow
got
it down.
9 goes
Thank
with
you.
And
1.
thank you, Daniel, for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, 9 goes with 1, and 3 goes with 6.
Yep.
You guys are really good at this.
Yeah.
We know our city. We do. Our staff makes sure we do.
The question that we had before, we were talking about the safe routes, so another point of clarification. Would expanded community engagement be separate or together with the connecting, the second one? So would row 2 be the same as row 8? They would? Okay. So Councilmember Gannon, you were making a point that that expanded community engagement could go with the connecting more with our residents. That's all.
Correct. In
Yeah. So,
fact, I
okay.
think line 2 that you have up there is basically a description of line 8.
I think you're right too.
Right, yeah, the broader interpretation of it. Bingo.
Okay.
So what does that put us at right now? 6 items or
Yep.
7?
We have 6 items.
And what's the next one?
So the next one after that is execution of initiatives within climate resiliency plan.
I know my answer. Is that a part of something else that's already within the 6? I was trying to.
Or the other 4 that are on the
Or
next
the other-
exercise?
Yeah, that's what I was
Yeah.
trying to find. Yeah. I mean, are we gonna replace the beautification public art?
Oh, right. I'll save it.
Yeah, well, because we kind of touched on that one may need some bit of tweaking once we get around to that part of it.
Yeah.
Where you can shoehorn the resiliency into beautification or whatever with the quality of place, right?
Yeah, I mean, the CRP's there, right, and we know it. Do we need to add the word sustainability to the beautification thing?
Yeah, maybe instead of
It's
identify
separate.
areas of need, we could
Implement
identify
beautifi-
opportunities
yeah.
to.
Go ahead.
Beautify and,
Do you see what we're trying to do, Felicia, with the beautify one? Change it more to like a
I'm not sure that those are exactly the same thing. So I think that maybe too, if
Or
I
is that more
may
of an
suggest
infrastructure?
a wordsmithing or
Yes, we
two.
need wordsmithing.
please.
We've used up all of our words.
So like the execution of the initiatives within the climate resiliency plan, also just listening to you all, sustainability is a goal that you've been focusing on. So maybe it's something like continue sustainability initiatives, including Save the Bay initiatives and objectives of the climate resiliency plan. And I
there's
think
probably
of
other
those
stuff
as
that'll
two
fit
different
in.
things from beautification, though. And then the other one, just minor wordsmithing, again, if I may, is that
because it makes a difference between capital improvement versus legislative. It's
yeah, that on number 4, if you all may consider, instead of developing strategies, just continue the maintenance of existing infrastructure. So that's really what we're
Have the
doing.
strategy,
Right? We're developing some strategies like a water supply plan and the stormwater, and we're doing some, the analysis of the capacity of the plants and things like that. But really, it's not about the strategies as much as it is about practically is what we're doing is maintaining
existing
infrastructure.
So let me change that. So hold on. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, please.
So it sounds like
And I
then
think-
sustainability as a separate thing, wordsmithing that one somehow?
Yeah.
What does that fit? So that would be one to replace what currently would be the 7th one on that list?
Yeah.
Wordsmithing that a little bit, said including climate resiliency. Felicia, she's on it.
Yeah, that's
You wanna
what I'm
think?
talking about. Yeah.
Initiatives.
It is a team effort.
Initiatives, yes.
Bingo.
Including Save the Bay, climate resiliency plan objectives. Yeah.
That becomes all the bullets within.
Yep.
Within that one.
And I think, Felicia's typing there. I think the long-term planning for parks to some extent, what I'm talking about there is, I think it kind of falls into some, and parks is different than what I think of infrastructure, but what I was talking about there is instead of when we have a playground that needs replacing, instead of just saying, okay, let's replace it. Instead, we needed like an overarching plan of like, do we need to replace this? What do we have in mind for this park long term? Why was this put there? Why? So I think it's kind of subsumed within some other things, but that's where I was going with that.
Same kind of thing.
Well, so that's, does that still maybe align with maintenance or
I think-
planning with infrastructure?
I think it aligns with maintenance. I don't think it necessarily, nothing has to, fall off of an ultimate list.
Sure.
But I think it's definitely kind of within that.
Mhm.
Because it's more of a project thing, right? Like
Right.
a parks master plan. Well, that's a project that we could have, but it's not exactly a priority.
Right, it fits in that broader category of a plan that would
Yeah.
be implemented and developed as part of a program for sustaining your infrastructure.
All right, so the first 7, we have expanded community engagement. We have number 2, build the downtown corridor. Number 3, maintenance of existing infrastructure. Number 4, enhancing roadway safety for all modalities, including safe routes to school. Number 5 is updated comprehensive plan. Number 6, execute Oldsmar Sports Complex improvements. Number 7, support sustainability initiatives, including Save the Bay program and climate resiliency plan for the next 2
Those
fiscal.
in like a yellow or like a highlighted color, and then and then scroll down so we could see what is left on
Okay.
there that we kind of. So we can delete number 18 because we included that.
And as far as number 19 goes, I appreciate everyone's feedback on that, but I would like to just talk about that maybe in the future, you know, and get some ideas, because what I read from your comments are important. So we can remove that.
Yeah, because that can fall in maybe CIP somewhere.
Yes, yeah,
with
exactly.
infrastructure
Yeah,
still, right?
5-year plan.
Right.
Talk about it, that's, yeah,
Yeah.
perfect.
Yeah, that would be a CIP item to
Yep.
throw around. You got 3 long-term planning, but they're not all well, they're some form of infrastructure, right? Well, at least 2 of them are.
Is there a plan for
The
planning
only
in the future?
thing
services is
that
different.
I'm a little bit concerned about is some combination. We previously had execute economic development plan, and number 9, supporting economic development and existing businesses to attract jobs, families, including workforce housing. I mean, it doesn't quite.
Doesn't
I
quite
don't
fit
know
in the
if-
other ones?
It's kind of like a.
One doesn't look like the other?
Well, you know,
What's
one
that
doesn't
song?
necessarily look like the other, but I just
Yes.
wanted to kind of point out that the mayor and vice mayor also brought up housing, a different type of housing, but housing. I just, you know, it doesn't go unnoticed. I think it's important that we have that, you know, on our minds.
Maybe we should talk about it at the CIP meeting.
Well, it's not really a
two.
CIP item. It's not a capital improvement project for us. As just sort of like how Tatiana touched on, you know, all of the partnership work that we do with the chamber. I mean, the executing the economic development plan was a huge part of Tatiana's presentation, and a huge part of her future, you know, future things to come.
Well, isn't that item not too dissimilar from the number 2 of existing priorities? That's not currently as part of this list, but supposed to be part of the next exercise?
Yeah, that's true. As part of the next exercise, are we
That really
going
aligns
to
with
look at
that
the
item.
current and the former?
Yes.
Okay, then I think we're set with those
That one
7.
doesn't, that one pretty much aligns with.
Yeah.
an
Did you
existing-
want to include the ones from row 9 down?
Well,
in the
council
exercise?
Q&A really still fits with an engagement one too. That's
Okay.
more of a program or an
I'm gonna
initiative
add that,
within
hold
the broader
Yeah, and I would
engagement.
agree.
But it's important,
Yeah.
Yeah.
real important.
It's a strategy under that objective.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I think planning for transportation and planning for parks and planning for city services, no, not services.
Just the first
Transportation
two,
and
yeah.
parks would fall under, it would be a strategy for maintenance of existing infrastructure, I think.
2 strategies under the priority.
I mean, you don't have to put them up there, I'm just
Yeah.
kind of throwing that out there. I don't think you need to add them as like
Right.
comma, you know.
Right.
Just putting that out there that I don't necessarily think those are priorities that need to be ranked.
So then we got 7, right?
Yep.
Okay, so we have 7 here. And how does that compare to the prior ones? Hold on. Okay, so the original 7 was build the downtown corridor, which we have. Execute economic development plan strategies as feasibly. So that one is not included, but it looks like
That's where I was saying that's kind of like what's
number
on
9.
row 9.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm gonna change that to be execute development plan. Okay, and then we have the quality of place, the Oldsmar Sports Complex. Continue efforts to be a more automated and connected city. So that we need to add. And then identify areas of need for beautification and potential grants, such as tree programs and public art. Did you want me to add that as one to rank as well? The quality of place,
Change to identify areas of need for beautification.
to what?
It was changed, they had talked about. Oh, I thought they changed. No,
It's the same. We started change, adding sustainability, but yeah, but.
But it became a separate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Just want to make sure we had it right.
Thank you. Okay. Should I add that to one to be the one with quality of place, identify areas of need for beautification and potential grants as something to consider for the next 2 fiscal years? As a high priority item for the city?
Can I see the top 7 again?
Yeah, of course.
The only part that makes me nervous about leaving it off is public art.
Right.
I think public art is somehow a priority. I'm wondering how it can be
Added. Placed.
incorporated. I mean, I know those are all very different.
Right. They are different.
Yes, so what I'll do,
Part of our infrastructure.
I'm going to go ahead and add these other ones.
No, no.
Considered infrastructure.
So,
So much
Put
infrastructure.
it on there and see where it ranks.
exactly.
Go.
And
There you go.
here's,
Put it on there, see where it ranks.
here's a key part as well, is that the harbor plant, the Harbor Palms project is huge. So that's one that a lot of staff and money are going towards.
Yes.
So that would probably need to be ranked high because you're already in the midst of it.
Yeah.
So
Right.
that really needs to continue if, since you're on phase 2, going to phase
Yeah.
3.
One question I had, if we already know we're gonna do it,
We're not gonna bail on it now,
No,
right?
it doesn't.
Phase
it's a
3, you know what,
priority,
it's
but-
off.
Yeah.
They need to,
Well, let me
she
ask
said.
let me ask a serious question though.
oh, I'm getting,
Okay, go ahead,
we
Steve.
do.
Because it's resources. Right now, these priorities are identifying what resources you want the city
Yeah.
to focus their time on.
So it can't drop off of our priority list until
It's
we
done.
stop devoting a major portion of our resources to that project.
Yes, we prioritized it with the
Yes.
funds being expended
It's like
toward
the
it.
BMX,
And
it's
so
almost
until
done.
those funds are no longer expended, it's a priority.
Is it, Felicia, is it feasible that that one will only be into next fiscal year and then that's it?
Oof.
I don't think so.
Daniel's laughing.
No,
I tried, I had to try.
I see it every day. It ain't gonna happen. I see it every day. It ain't gonna happen.
Both, it's in 2 years.
Maybe
After 3
longer.
years, maybe?
But Douglas Road is not on the list, see?
Ay.
Yeah.
Not on the list, but happened.
Yeah,
It's
that's right,
infrastructure.
that's right.
It's infrastructure.
Isn't everything infrastructure? No.
Yeah.
Public
just
art,
joking, I'm just joking.
public art is not infrastructure.
It's fun watching Daniel laugh over there. He's just like, oh boy.
Okay, so in this next activity,
Okay.
I'm going to show you in just a minute. Let me put this in slideshow view. It's not easy to prioritize, so I commend you for taking this mental exercise. You're going to be a little brain dead today, probably.
Well, it's tough because saying yes to one thing is like no to another.
It is.
Governing is choosing.
And that, in every life is a choice, and with staff and budget, it's really hard to, you want everything to be done here and now, but you only have so much staff and so much budget. So this next activity is you're gonna rank each. It's not open yet. We're still uploading them. Did it get it? Did you get it? Okay, let me, that's okay, I'll email it to you, just, our OneDrive. Technology, love it.
It always wants me to rejoin the session.
Yeah, because it times out just for safety, for security.
Oh, I gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah. I just saved it as updated activity 2 version 2. So we'll see if that, yeah. So it looks like we have 16 items to prioritize, and remember, we're trying to get to our top 7. So your top 7 are going to be the ones you really want to move forward. So that's,
Where's that money list? Where's my money list?
you did your homework.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, yeah, the money
There's
list.
the money list.
There's the money list right here. Yes.
Nope. Let me see.
Okay, so then we're all close, okay. All right. Let me keep my fingers to the rock.
Okay, I logged out,
Got
logged
it.
back in. Nothing's changed.
I'm not letting you in yet.
Okay, okay, good. Thank you.
Stand by.
Yep, stand by.
Thank you for your patience. Stand by.
It was updating, but I didn't think it was, so just 1 minute.
Yeah, we want to make sure it's accurate.
By the way, you both are doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Oh,
Wonderful,
thank you.
Really,
Thank you.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much.
And you're just getting a little taste.
Yeah, you should see us in action with our full team, with the documenter and the visual illustrator. It's just amazing. Well, you probably did with Leadership Pinellas, right?
Yes,
Yeah? Yeah. Leadership Pinellas, Leadership
I
Pinellas.
did, but I don't
Leadership-
think I did.
No, I didn't.
No, I didn't do it. You did it, did you?
Collab Labs?
No, I didn't.
What day was that? What program
2017.
day?
Oh, maybe Andrea just started facility. Orientation?
Orientation,
At
no.
Safety Harbor?
No,
Mm-mm.
not
No?
this, not for this year, we didn't do it, no.
Oh, we did it for orientation.
Huh.
I don't,
I was in Leadership St. Pete in '04.
Oh, wow. Who's our candidate for this year?
Almost there.
Anybody?
I've nudged, but it involves a time commitment.
I
Not
know.
everybody can do that, you know?
Yes, yeah, we should get somebody.
It's one day
Jared,
a
maybe?
month, right?
I asked,
most months.
Steve and I asked, Felicia if there's any department heads that
Good,
might
yeah,
be
wonderful,
interested,
yeah.
but of course it's a
Okay, don't turn it
Time
on yet.
commitment.
Actually, hold on. Go ahead.
You might not care.
I want to
One day a
show
month,
them.
Except for the Tallahassee trip,
Yeah, but it is a
Go ahead,
full
go ahead and,
whole day.
no, I need you to,
Yeah, we need somebody.
all right,
from-
don't do anything yet, but she's going to activate it and I want to show you the drag and drop feature. Mm-hmm.
Oh, here we go.
All right, so just,
Don't do
if you
anything.
could look on the screen real quick, I just want to show you, if you highlight it blue and you click down on it, or with your finger, you can actually drag and move it. If you kind of highlight a bunch of things, it won't move. So you have to kind of highlight just one and move it up or down to where you want it to be. If you have any issues, let me know. So you have 16 options. The top 7 are what you're trying to really move up. The remaining ones you don't have to rank as, it's not as important, but the top 7 are your most important.
I'm trying to move them
How
up.
do I move it? I can't move it.
They're not moving up.
So you should be able to, are you using your finger or are you using the mouse?
You have to
I'm using
click
my
it
finger.
first, you have to tap it first,
Click on it and then move it.
and then swipe.
Okay, yeah, there it
Then the
goes.
green bar shows where you're taking it to.
What green bar?
I'm trying to move 3.
Mayor, are you showing your generation?
Yeah,
Oh, there it
Tap
goes.
it.
Okay.
it did.
There
Got
goes, it moved. Just tap it, and after you've tapped it, drag. See how it's green? Now keep going, see it moved.
Trying to move 3 to 1. Oh, my God.
Mine doesn't, how did she do that?
I saw her how she did it now. Okay, good.
What am I doing wrong? Show me how you tapped it one more time.
You moving this one up?
Yeah.
Did
it's
you-
got-
I think maybe going more to the right over
Okay.
here and doing a flat finger like that.
Okay, got it.
Gotta have
Click it
flatter
blue.
fingers.
Click it blue. So, and then,
Are you able
see
to
how
move
when I
it?
click it,
Yep.
it highlights?
Got it, I got it.
It-
But you have 2 highlighted right now, so you have to have 1 highlight. There you go.
Okay, now, I got it. Cool, thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Are you able to move
Mm.
yours okay?
Yep, mm-hmm, it's working great.
You able to move yours okay? Oh, yeah,
I,
you're doing
I never had an issue, yeah. Did I say that out loud?
Sorry.
I do technology.
I never had an issue. Thank you for building that, Lori.
Sure.
We're going to provide these reports with all the comments that you've added and the ratings and all that to
Oh, cool. Thank you.
to you all, so you'll have that as well.
Oh. Dinner's coming up.
1 hour to dinner.
Yep.
How many are completed? I know it's tough.
These are tough. They're all good.
I know.
We get like 9.
Yeah.
Or like
Yeah,
two.
Felicia, can we have 9? Oh,
Yeah.
she's
Oh,
gone.
she
already left.
conveniently has left.
Yeah.
She
When we're
conveniently
asking
has
for
left the
more
building now.
priorities.
Wow.
Well, you know, if you saw the existing priorities and all the work that they're currently
You can
doing,
do the next ones.
it
That's
is
right.
truly amazing all that your staff has accomplished.
I agree. Tough.
I know it's a hard choice, isn't it?
Like choosing a favorite child.
It is like choosing a favorite child. That's true. I do not have a favorite. I do not have a favorite. I do not. Child, that is. Did it get warm? Yeah. They want to know if they could have 15. No, kidding.
No.
15.
Okay.
15 minutes. I was like,
59.
sure.
15 minutes?
No, I walked out for a second.
And they both look at each other like, I wonder if we could have 9. And she's like, oh, they're
It's
she
only
can be.
money and resources. No resources.
I
so it's
know,
only
I
money
know.
and time, right?
All right,
And
so
staff.
So we're ranking them all, but mindful of our top
8.
8-ish.
Yeah, I would definitely rank your top 7, 8, 9, because you don't know how the other
That's
council
true. You
members
don't know
are.
all
how
getting
the
ranking,
others are
right?
going to rank, and some things are more expensive than others.
Yes.
Right. Boom. Submit.
Submit.
When you're finished.
Okay.
Ooh, you're the first one in. Gotcha.
That was tough.
It is. We were
Easy
saying it's
button
like
there.
picking your favorite child. It really is. Which one of my triplets goes to college?
Did you do yours? Okay. I don't want to be the
I'm
last.
still.
I know. It's hard.
just,
That was tough. I mean, they're all good, every one of them.
This is actually where your compass point comes in.
Yeah.
It takes the longest to submit based on.
Analysis paralysis, because they're all so important. That's okay, just continue your terms, and then the next fiscal year.
Easy as that. Yep.
Ratings are anonymous.
Mhm.
I love how you did this too. This was excellent.
Oh,
The
great.
priorities,
Thank you. It was all your verbiage. I appreciate you taking the time to do that.
wonderful.
All right, I'm
Thank you.
All right.
jumping.
I'm gonna push it.
No, I changed my mind on everything.
Push it, push it.
It's up to you. I'm done.
I clicked submit.
Close it. Don't touch it again.
Really hard.
All right, you ready to see the results coming up?
Yes.
Oh,
I wanna see
please.
a printout of the results.
All right.
Do we all did, okay.
So let's see what we have. Number 1, maintenance of existing infrastructure. Number 2, enhancing roadway safety. Number 3, Harbor Palm infrastructure. Number 4, updated comprehensive plan. Number 5, execute Oldsmar Sports Complex. Number 6, community engagement. Number 7, downtown corridor.
Wow.
You can still, the other ones, you can still keep those in mind as you progress through the year.
On our thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, can you share that so we can see it up?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see it on your.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Oh, here we go, got it.
Yeah, it should, yeah.
Oh, here, I can stop moving it so you can see. Here, let me move this up so you can get a
It's
good
funny, though.
screenshot.
Well,
That
I
is
think we're all, I think
Oh,
we're all
wait.
on the same page
Sorry.
here.
Hold
Yeah,
on, hold
this
I
on.
think we all
Okay, there
are
we
on the
go.
same page. I really do. That's
There we
really
go.
interesting.
The,
We're all.
the ranking of all of the other ones is really interesting. That's really cool.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. I want to give you guys a hand. You did a great job. You did a great job.
Wow.
It takes a lot of brain power, but you did it. I'm really, really
I'm just
impressed.
shocked at how we're all on the same page because I
Yeah.
picked the top 8 and it's wonderful to
Yeah, I
see
kind
that.
of figured the top 8. I'm delighted with 9, 10. I really think this reflects to a large degree.
What I was mentioning
all of
is
our
that
priorities.
you'll get a copy of all these charts and ratings and comments and all that, so you'll have all that, all the reports that I'll be able to email to you. The raw data, yeah.
So question to Felicia then, when do we adopt our new priorities? Is that at the next meeting? Or are we doing that now?
City Clerk Nixon is adding that to the tentative agenda. And then you will see how they're implemented in stages through the CIP program and the operating budgets.
Awesome.
I know, that's great. So the only thing left is I just want to say thank you.
So are we doing the top 7, top 8, or what? I'm serious.
7.
2, Felicia says 2.
Felicia says 2. I'm just teasing. You said 7. Okay, I just want to
7.
make sure.
Top 7. And so thank you so much for having us here today to assist you with this process. It was our pleasure.
Thank you so much. Great job.
Very well done.
Wonderful, wonderful. All right, with that, Felicia, is there anything else? All right, then I guess this meeting is adjourned and we are heading for dinner
Yay.
and volunteer appreciation dinner.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Wonderful.